lead. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Till until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to My Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Let's get the show started. I hope everyone is having a great start of their week. I've had a very busy, productive day today. Did a lot. I mean, so much. I am so exhausted that I'm going to try to do this show within a 2 hour, maybe half, 2.5 hour show. Try to get everything done and get all these videos out the way and get more input. Need more input. But yeah, I saw the chiropractor today and he really worked on my back, and I'm like, tired. My knee is acting up. It's just one of these Mondays you just want to skip and just go straight to like Sunday again. Because yesterday was really nice. It just really, we did a really good show, have 4 hours in, and it was fun. But I'm not going to do 4 hours today. There's no way in hell. But we're going to go straight to the news, and we're going to go catch a couple of shows. And we're going to start off first with today is going to be Melody King. So without further ado, let's watch some Melody King. Set this.
When you realize that they are still sacrificing children to the same gods from the beginning of time, you really realize this world is so spiritual, and you realize that the Bible proves to be true. The fact that these elites are sacrificing children to Baal and Moloch, still to this day, it's 2026, they are actively on this island making these children have babies to sacrifice them to Baal or Moloch. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein's bank account name is Baal says everything I need to know. Now, they worship those same gods. These are all the same bloodlines of people. Nothing has changed. Y'all understand the torture that they put these children through? Not just the kids that they are kidnapping and snatching away from their families, but the kids that they are also making these kids have, mind you, through SA, right? Because they are raping these children as well. Then making them have the baby only to sacrifice the baby to one of these gods. Y'all don't understand that when the Bible says that Satan is the lowercase g God of this world, this is exactly what the things entail. I understand that they would quite literally, these things would be heated up like a furnace. It would be like statues, and they would be heated up like a furnace, and they would put the baby alive, might I add, into these furnaces to sacrifice the baby. This is sick, bro. This is so sick. Mind you, they eat them and they drink their red stuff that's in their body.
So I want to talk about some of what is going on in the Jeffrey Epstein file. Let me just say this first. If you have been awake for quite some time, and especially if you are a person that combed through Pizzagate right when it was happening, because that was like, I was in shock at that time, the things that I was finding out. But right now, the Epstein files they're not scaring you. They're not surprising you. You knew these things were already taking place. But back then, everyone was called crazy, that they had tinfoil, they were weirdos, or they were Bible thumpers. That's not true.
What was it?
And the mainstream media also did this, and in social media platforms, you were completely taken off social media if you said anything about this.
That's what they called it.
If you tried to report on it. I remember YouTube channels that were taken down.
My channel got striked
my information from YouTube videos, but I would go to the links and dig through the archives, looking at John and Tony Podesta's artwork.
So they're all part of the fucking
James
game.
Elephantis.
That's what it is. They're all part of it.
We can get into details about who he really was. I mean, Madeleine McCain, the NAMBLA symbols on the pizza shop that was right beside Comet Ping Pong, talking about the child trafficking in Haiti tied to the Clinton Foundation. What was on Anthony Weiner's laptop when we're talking about the red stuff. I don't want to say certain things involving children and some very dark and disturbing things.
Yep.
The reason why I want to talk
they
about
normalize
this
it.
because we are in a spiritual battle. And I have been telling you guys this over and over. This is not about left or right. This isn't about those lines of division anymore. We have to open our spiritual eyes because this is continuing to happen. But this is what the Bible said it would be. And I don't know why anyone who knows the word of God, maybe you didn't learn it, okay? But understand when God said, in fact, let me show you the scripture really quickly. So I want to read Genesis 6:1-8 to you. It is very important for you to understand in Old Testament context, what was going on. And this ties directly into, it says in the tribulation, but during the tribulation, it will be like the days of Noah, right? It will be like the days before the flood. What was happening before the flood? We know Nephilim were here. We know there was a great wickedness, but this gives some context a little bit to it. It's not the full context, but it's going to help you to understand that the same wickedness that we saw in the Old Testament, that didn't just go away. It is only through belief in Jesus Christ that would go away in a person. But understand this, because people on X yesterday were telling me, when I would say men are wicked and God regretted making humans, they were just like, no, that's not true. God didn't do that. Well, you clearly don't know the word, nor do you study the scripture. You're just regurgitating something that you feel. And this is why it's important to always link things back to the word of God. So it says, when human beings, sorry for the ad below. Let me see if I can close it out. There we go. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. A quick side note, 120 years, I've had several of the elites, including Larry Ellison, said they now have the ability to live to 120 years. Do you know that is what our lifespan is supposed to be? Are you wondering why we have the chemtrails and they're poisoning us and the vaccines and how they've done everything to destroy us inside and out. Well, they're trying to remove the years off of our lives because they don't want us to live as long as God said that we should be able to live. Okay. I just want to throw that out there. But now the elites, Larry Ellison even said, I think it was last year's WEF, that now they have the advancement, the technology to live to 120 years and stay youthful. Okay, so the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them, they were the heroes of old, men of renown. Those are the ancient gods. Guys, those are the ancient gods. We're talking about Apollo or Apollyon, Thor, like just all of the different gods. And even this is where you get the superheroes and all of that. I'm not going to go into those details, but these were these giant beings that were worshipped by people because they were half demon and half human. Who are the sons of God? Well, those are the fallen angels, which it clearly says. Some people said, no, angels never made it with women. Well, no, not angels of God. These became sons of God. They were created by God. They were once angels. But what does it say? They were tempted sexually. And they wanted these women when they saw how beautiful they were. And that was part of the rebellion against God. Okay. And a lot of people skip that. They just think about Satan just led this rebellion and all these angels left. No, this happened as well. Okay. And this is what created these giants. Some would be as tall as 400 feet. Yes. Okay. So I just want you to know those are the ancient gods. They call them different names and different civilizations and all of that, or mythologies, but that's who they were. They were not real gods. Because they were partly demon, I don't think they had special powers, but because they were so big and they were some would tie into Solomon's sorcery, which is the origin of witchcraft. There's a whole layer to get into that. But I just want you to understand what that is and be very crystal clear. So it says, the Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground. For I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. God at that time, his plan was to completely destroy every living creature on earth. He regretted making mankind because of how wicked they are. The Bible also says that no man is good. This is in the New Testament, that no man is good, no, not one. Right? People can put on a moral front, but understand, when you are an elite, when you get to a level of power, you're not just there circumstantially. There is a sacrifice you must make. I've played you the video by Ashley Hayes that we were not founded as a Christian nation. We were founded by Luciferian. I'm not going to say certain words because they hit me with the yellow last time, but they were, sometimes I like to drink something out of a mason jar. I'll say that. So I just want you to understand, during this time, they were sacrificing to Baal. They were sacrificing their children. They were doing this. And God was so in despair of how wicked men were that they would do some of these things. And even wanting to get rid of the animals, understand as well, Nephilim, specifically even Nimrod, made it with animals. That's why you see in these ancient depictions where they look like half human, dog face. There'll be giants as well. Something lion's body with wings. The Sphinx, guys, those are actually depictions of a type of Nephilim, right? Sometimes they were hybrid with animals, not all, but they would create these beings. They started eating people. Like, it was disgusting. But guess what? It says here, I want to point out one more thing. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. meaning Nephilim still exists today, right? The bloodline of the Nephilim, these demonic hybrid creatures, human and demon creatures, still exist. They were not totally wiped out. In fact, the dead body of a Nephilim, disembodied Nephilim, that's where we get demons, right? That's not the same as the original fallen angels who actually still exist in their form here. All right. They're not a disembodied spirit, but Nephilim are the descendants of them. But let's continue to get back. But I want you to have that understanding because we are getting to that point. The tribulation says that they will be roaming the earth. It will be like those days, a wickedness so dark, so deep that God would want to completely destroy everything on earth, but not for Jesus Christ. And this is why we must believe in him in order to be saved from that final judgment.
Government just admitted that there are a bunch of child-loving PDFs who worship Baal and are Satanists, and people think the solution is voting in the midterms. Do you now see why they don't care? Do you now see why they are so open about this and mocking us? Because they know tomorrow you're still going to clock into work on Monday. They know that you still have faith in a system that you cannot vote your way out of. This is why they don't care, because they know there are people who still believe in this illusion.
Now, my screen is black right now because this last clip I want to play for you is something I think is the most disturbing image that came out of the Epstein files. As we know, if you know about Pizzagate, you remember Hillary Clinton talking about sacrificing chickens to Moloch in her emails. Well, what is chicken? Well, according to the FBI, in the PDF world, if you get what I'm saying, a chicken is a baby boy, not a real chicken, but that is what a chicken is. It is a infant boy, a newborn baby boy. What I'm about to show you, it doesn't show a whole bunch of graphic things, but just it's blocked out, but just you can see some of nothing graphic you'll see, but just understanding, hearing this is very, very dark. I don't want to catch anyone by surprise. I don't want to disturb anybody's spirit. So I'm going to tell you now, if things like this, if it's will disturb you. All right. It doesn't, again, it's not showing any bodies. It doesn't show anything, but I'll describe it as a cutting board. There are two chickens and there is something in the middle that is blocked out, but it's just the imagery. It's just the imagination of it. And it's just hearing and knowing about this could be disturbing. So that is your warning to leave this video now, because I know when I was not ready to see this stuff or hear about it, it was way too much for me. But understand, I want to tie this directly to what the elite are doing, that they are doing the same things, the same wickedness that has always existed. It's just now people are seeing it. People are waking up to it. People are realizing, oh my gosh, this stuff was real. This stuff is real and continues to be.
What's up, Terry?
All right. I'm playing it now.
How you doing?
Check this out. One image in the Epstein files list contains an image that shows two chickens, and in the middle is something that's been redacted. But if you look closely, it really looks like a baby's leg. If it's just another chicken, why block it out? That's my point. And you can see the full leg right there. And people, yes, remember when Hillary Clinton's emails came out when she was joking about sacrificing chickens to Moloch? Who's that? Too many coincidences are here. These people at the top are all corrupt. We've got to make a change. We need to go to the top and be better.
1% it's
Crossing
very
borders does not excuse responsibility. Arrest her.
Very tough group.
So yeah, I actually had a lot more planned. I think I went a lot more in depth in the Bible than I had planned to, but it also is a good precursor for another video I want to do about the Nephilim, because Nephilim are mentioned as well in Pizzagate, okay, with Hillary Clinton's emails as well. And I believe also found now in the Jeffrey Epstein files, because listen, they could deny God all they want. They could say the Bible's not true, but they sure behave and act just like the Bible says. They use words and things and do things of talking about the Nephilim that is in the word of God. Okay. These things are real. They know it, and they're working towards a satanic agenda. And now people are seeing it and waking up. But I just wanted to share this with you to inform you, to give you a different angle on all of this. But make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will be back very, very shortly.
Yeah, and we're going to keep it moving because we got more to watch.
And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me.
Okay, let's cut the music out here. But look, it's Jeffrey Epstein holding a baby Mandani.
What's up, guys? Spenny. Remember the good old days when everybody would make fun of Justin Trudeau for being Fidel Castro's bastard child? And the reason why we would do that is because Justin Trudeau's parents were dirty communists that loved to travel to communist Cuba, had many instances when they met Fidel Castro. His mother was clearly in love with Fidel Castro, and she got around, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wow.
And also, well, Justin Trudeau doesn't look anything like his portly,
but you live like in a rural area.
He looks everything like Fidel Castro. And so it leads people to ask, like, is this some type of selective breeding thing among the global elites and the Illuminati? Some type of sick ritual where they plan out who's going to be running the countries, generation after generation? Just like old royal families. Yeah, maybe this is something like that. More importantly, when Justin Trudeau was conceived, his parents were in the Caribbean. These are just matters of fact. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's something that we've been researching, and something that shocked us was that maybe Zorhan Mandami is one of these kids. Maybe Zorhan Mandami, with his aspirational and absolutely parabolic rise to one of the most powerful communists on earth, has been installed. And he's just one of these little test tube babies that were bred out for exactly this moment. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is what people are saying on the internet. Let's go and investigate Jeffrey Epstein's secret son. Now who could that be? Sarah Ferguson congratulated the pedophile on the birth of a baby boy. Newly released email reveals. Sarah Ferguson congratulated Jeffrey Epstein on having a baby boy shortly after he was released from jail for soliciting sex from girls as young as 14. Wow. So-called Epstein files show the former Duchess of York offered him love, friendship, and congratulations on the a note that she sent the pedophile financier in September 2011. Well, all right. She says, congratulations on the new baby boy. I've heard from the Duke that you have had a baby boy. Well, as far as we know, Jeffrey Epstein has no children. So what's going on here exactly? Enter Zorhan Mandami's mom. Zorhan Mandami's mother is the acclaimed Indian-American filmmaker. Acclaimed? Really? Myra Nair. Her name's Myra Nair. She's born in India. She's a renowned director. Is she really a renowned director? Let's go ahead and check her IMDb. Okay, Myra Nair is a real person. She's a director, producer, and actress. So Myra Nair, this is the kind of woman that raises a communist, by the way. This is the kind of woman that raises a dirty defund the police communist. So yeah, she is a director. What has she directed exactly? Let's go ahead and check. Kama Sutra, A Tale of Love. Oh, okay. All right. What else has she directed? Children of a Desired Sex. Got 1 star. But yeah, that's on a thing that's a thing that she directed. So that's not great. Here's some of the other things that she's directed. A Suitable Boy. I can see why maybe Jeffrey Epstein would be interested in her work. All right, so let's fast forward here. So who exactly was Zorhan Mandami's mom dating in the 1980s? Hey, Grok, Zorhan Mandami's mom up to in the 1980s, and what is the last name of the person she was dating? Here is Grok, the most accurate AI in the world. Zorhan Mandami's mother, Myra Nair, in the 1980s, she directed documentaries like Children of a Desired Sex and Salon Bombay, real winners there at the box office. She's married to Mitch Epstein.
What?
Oh, so she was married to an Epstein. Oh, okay. Got it. Great. So she's married to an Epstein. Mitch Epstein. Who is Mitch Epstein? Mitch Epstein is not the same as Jeffrey Epstein. He's a photographer. You see, he's not the convicted sex offender. We're told by AI. All right, fine. But let's go ahead and look to see if there's any further connections. Resurfaced photos link Mondami to Epstein-connected publicist in New York City event. So here's Mondami and his mom going to elitist Hollywood events with Hollywood actors and networking events with other creepy people inside of the entertainment industry, the same kind of people that, Jeffrey Epstein would smuggle and would bring around. And Jeffrey Epstein obviously took photos of himself sometimes with, young kids. Let's just say. Here's the email that says, you have a baby boy. This is, by the way, after he was a convicted predator. Somebody has to say it. There's a very real possibility that Zohran Mondami is Jeffrey Epstein's biological son.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why they are really saying this is because Jeffrey Epstein's files show that he had a close relationship with Zohran Mondami's mom. It's not just like putting the breadcrumbs together. She's literally in the Epstein files. Here we go. Just left Ghislaine's townhouse for a party for a film. Bill Clinton and Jeff Bezos were there. So was director Myra Nair, etc. So Jeffrey Epstein did have association with Zohran Mondami's mom. This is true. It'll be quite interesting.
The love child.
Myra Nair holding an infant boy, Zohran Mondami, with Jeffrey Epstein. Rumors circulating that these pictures and recently released photos are true. I think that they're AI. I think a lot of these photos are AI. This is a fake composite. They mix eras in these images that are making the rounds. Bill Clinton and Zohran Mondami.
That doesn't look real.
You can run these through the AI generator.
You can tell they don't look real.
I think this one. Jeffrey Epstein's holding up Bill Clinton.
Come on.
Zohran Mondami.
That's not real. But you could
the
tell.
emails are real. Major investigation underway to determine if reports are true that current New York City Mayor Zohran Mondami is the biological son of Jeffrey Epstein. Again, this is the AI detection. Part of this images was edited with Google AI.
Yeah,
I first met Nair Mondami in 1991. Funny, smart, and easy to talk to. We caught up briefly at Epstein's party.
Oh no!
Hear me out. There's pics of Mondami's mom with Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm just saying, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Oh Lord!
Oh no! They're doing the thing.
Oh no!
Like they did with Justin Trudeau. It's the same thing. Yikes! There's no evidence that Zohran Mondami is Jeffrey Epstein's son. The fact that his mother appears in the Epstein files multiple times highlights a much broader and deeper problem, which is the incestuous nature of elite networks. At a certain level, everybody seems to know everyone, or is connected through this pretty sick network. Funny how Zohran Mondami has suddenly stopped tweeting about the Epstein files. What did he tweet? Jeffrey Epstein may have accepted his day in court, but wealthy predators involved in sex trafficking think they got away with it. They're wrong. Well, what about your mom, dude? She's in the files. What are you talking about? People are outside of Jeffrey Epstein's, the Gracie Mansion where the mayor lives, screaming about this.
Shame! Ooh, they were at his house. Shame!
So they're.
Damn.
That didn't last long. Honeymoon didn't last long, man. We know about your mom. We know about your mom, Zohran. Mondami's mother directed Kama Sutra, A Tale of Love. She's mentioned in attending parties with Clinton and Epstein. Okay. Isn't it amazing that Mandami just arose out of absolutely nowhere with no connections to evil elites at all? Zohar Mandami knew his mom was in the Epstein files, or is he as surprised as we are? Jeffrey Epstein is Zohar Mandami's dad. Oh, damn. Man. Why have they suddenly stopped tweeting about the Epstein files? Your mom? Just a reminder that AI tells us that Mandami's dad is actually Epstein.
No way.
Epstein. Okay, it's a different Epstein. Got it? It's a different Epstein. I can't believe it.
Hey, you never know.
I can't believe it. This is insane.
It's an Epstein.
I mean, like insane. Like I just, whoa. Like, is it really all connected? Are there really breeding rituals for the global elites? Is this what happens? It's like it's the same thing when we actually really looked into the Justin Trudeau Castro allegations. We really did look into that, and man, there's something there. There really is. There's something there. Is there something with Mandami? Let me know in the comments. Wild, man. The Epstein files are wild, man.
Man, it's crazy shit in there. That's for damn sure. Freaking Epstein, he listen, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes that we just do not know because it's none of our business. And a lot of people are trying to intrude into that business, but it will never be your business because they control. They have the control. They have the money. They have the resources. They have more than half of the fucking stock market. It's like, what power do we think we have? We don't. We're just working ants. Just work your ass off until you die, and that's it. Okay? That's just how it is. It's just crazy times we're living in. Extremely crazy times we're living in. Is it gonna get better? No, not right now. It's just because they want the chaos, they want the carnage, they want the people to burn it down. It's just like everything is just like everything's so open right now, right? Everything like they're letting them do all these protests throughout the country. Everybody with their little signs that's ice out, fuck ice. You know, we're gonna experience this weekend coming up, the Super Bowl, and it's gonna be I call it the Democratic Bowl. You know, it's a Democrat Bowl because all these teams that are in the NFL, even the whole league is fucking Democratic. You know, they look at the bullshit they put on their helmets, you know, and choose love. Like, bitch, you don't need to tell me what I need to do, and you can't, like, and then it's like all this. Remember the Black Lives Matter shit that they used to have on the field and shit, and not only that, but this year we have the perfect clown to perform at the halftime show, and he comes from my country, and I tell you this, I'm a lot older than that little bunny, okay? Because he's not Big Bunny, he's just a little bad bunny. All right. I'm as a Puerto Rican myself, I really dislike Bad Bunny. He does not represent like my thinking and my thoughts, and what he goes for is like the easy, like the LBCQ, LMLOP, QRXYZ group. I don't know what power they're at right now because it went to infinity, but now we have to go to like infinity and beyond, and then we'll add more to the backside of that clang. I call it a terroristic group because that's what they are. I just feel like that's an easy way, you know. And he got suckered in. He sold himself. He sold himself to the devil, pretty much. You know, you can see his performances. They're really dark. They're very demonic. They're not. It's not like family friendly. and the fact that the NFL could prop him up and put him like the little bitch that he is in the center stage at halftime so the world could see, and they could do this stupid ritual. And, you know, what are the chances that he comes out with a dress? Pretty high. Do I care? Not really. Matter of fact, I'm probably not even going to watch the game. I'll probably come on here and do a show. Fuck the, like, people just need to, like, not watch that shit. You know what I mean? Especially if they're going to prop up this little monkey, and he's just opportunistic. Yes, he can sing good, but you don't need to bring out your like all the time, be so political. And the fact that you voted for Kamala Harris, it makes you like, I lost full respect for him. I don't care for him. I don't care for the music. Music is good. Don't get me wrong. He did some really good bangers, really good music, you know. But what ruined him is the politics. And let me tell you something. Once you dabble into like, and then it's like, he's like against the grain. You know what I mean? And he's a hypocrite. He's a straight up hypocrite. He was like, oh, I'm not going to perform in America because of what they're doing with the ICE and the deportations and this and this and that. I go, you're a stupid motherfucker. You're from Puerto Rico. What do you know about that? What do you know about deportations? Like, you're a fucking American, you dumb shit. Even though you're born in Puerto Rico, you're a Commonwealth of the United States. You just hang on to our tit as long as you can to suck everything out of it. That's what Puerto Rico is right now. And the fact you had this little bunny, you know, and he's already sucked in. He's a part of that group. He's a part of that, like, try to be like that 1%, but he's not. Like, he's messed with the Kardashians. He's part of the Kardashian crew. That's for sure. And once you get into that little, or like a cult, you're a lost soul. You're a lost soul. And and I don't fucking feel bad for him at all. I hope that, I hope something like an earthquake happens, especially like in the halftime show, because there's been some turbulence, I believe, over there. We're gonna check it out right now, because I did put up a story that leads up straight into the story. That's great, but fuck Bad Bunny. I don't like his political view, and and the stupidity. He shouldn't have never got into that, because he would have been more respected. But I cannot back up a person that just is so disrespectful and say that, oh, he's not going to perform in America, and this and this and that, and talk all this shit about America, right? But when that good old money came flying your way, and they're like, the Super Bowl came, he was like, he flipped like bigger than a fucking pancake. That's how fast this motherfucker flipped. The motherfucker's like, okay, I perform in Super Bowl. Okay, I'll be there. I said I wasn't gonna perform in America no more, but it's the Super Bowl. I'm gonna do it. Makes him the top notch hypocrite. Top notch, like way up there. I don't care for the fucking game. To be honest with you, I feel like it's more of a hypnotistic thing that goes on, especially with the television, the commercials, and all the flashing lights, and it's very you have to break from that cycle. You know what I mean? And if you continue to watch that shit, you get sucked into the vortex, and then they get you, because they'll bombard you with commercials. They'll bombard you that you have to buy this. This is the fab of the year. You have to do this. You have to do that. It's like, I don't have to do jack shit. I stay here at home and have a good time doing the show and reviewing some other news that is like more important than a fucking game of millionaires playing millionaires. You know, who gives a fuck who wins or lose? The NFL is the ones that win. That's a fucking occult. Like, that's a whole different occult in itself. And the fact that they use a lot of government money to build these stadiums is a fucking shame. And the fact that the states just give it away and it's like, yeah, it's the taxpayer money. Let's build a whole new stadium. Right. And we don't even have a say in it? Nope. They can spend the taxpayer money however they want? Yup. If a team wants a new stadium, they're going to go to the city and then they're just going to bill the taxpayers for like maybe 90, 80% of the fucking project? Yup. Crazy, man. Crazy. Let me see. Trump already said he's not attending. Yeah, he's not going to that shit. He was shitting the WWE as well. Yeah, WWE sucked, man. The Royal Rumble wasn't even that good. Let's talk about it. And then we'll go to the earthquakes. Yeah, Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth. It's a Commonwealth. They get benefits. They get all the same benefits. Like, if I move to Puerto Rico, I can get my benefits over there. Like, but do I want to move over there? Like, the whole process, the medical stuff, that's hard. That's not easy. Mm-mm. Yeah, the Royal Rumble was horrible. I mean, the only thing that was good of the whole night, the only thing that was good was Brie Bella coming back. When I heard Brie Mode, I was like, oh shit. A lot of people were shitting on her. They're like, oh man, she's bad. I was like, fuck you. She's awesome. I love Brie Bella. I love her personality. I love how she is. She's more down to earth than Nicole is. Nicole, she's like, she's a little bubbly, you know, bubbly brain, bubbly, you know, bubbly chest, bubbly, you know. But she's smart. She is, but she's very bubbly. She could be airhead at times, but Brie not. Brie is like, she's the brains and the bronze. Like, she's, and I'm happy that she's back, and she looked great last night, like in the Royal Rumble. I mean, on Saturday, she looked so good, and the way she came out, she was doing the yes, like Daniel Bryan. Oh my god, everybody was like, all into it, man. Everybody instantly got into it. That was the only pop of the night. The only pop in the Royal Rumble was Brie Bella coming back. And everybody, like other people that are like out in the YouTube world, were shitty on it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's awesome. That's cool. The fact that her kids could see her wrestle, you know, and be like, holy shit, like our dad wrestled and my mom too. And her kids could see it. Come on, man. You can't shit on that. That's awesome, man. I'm happy for her. I know Jericho is probably still. I don't know if Jericho. What's going on with Jericho? I think they're saving it, but it's just, what the hell they're gonna do, you know? Because if they didn't bring him back in the Royal Rumble, which it really didn't make sense to bring him back in that type of match. You know, to be honest with you, I would not want to come back as a 55-year-old, like, in the Royal Rumble. Like, for what? To fight for the world championship? Like, that makes zero sense. He's coming back. Like, he's gonna be like a nurse. Like, he's just, it's gonna be an act. You know what I mean? He'll have a couple of matches and so forth, but I just feel like they want to use him more for the knowledge, to educate the newer wrestlers and how to do things and how the business is, and give it from both, like, perspective, like between AEW and WWE, because he's been there and in WCW, so he has a lot of good history, and it's been all over around the world, wrestled all around the world, and just to have him, just for like the information that he, like the knowledge he has, I think it would be great to have him in the company, you know. um the only one that I the that was disappointed with also was Powerhouse Hubs, which now is um I forgot, something keys something keys, like I don't know what fucking name they gave him, and it was so lame. Like someone that just debuted in WWE from another company, and it was like crickets. Because over there they don't watch AEW. They don't have that in Saudi Arabia, in those areas out there. They don't watch that over there, so they don't know who the fuck this guy is. So he just popped out, and everybody was like, it was crazy. But you know, the excitement here in the States, when the people were watching, I saw some people like reaction videos, and I was like, yeah, they're pretty excited and stuff. And but it was so lame over there. I think they should never do the Royal Rumble and over in that area out there. It just doesn't make any sense. You lose money to be, well. What do you gain? The money the Saudis give you, like that's the B money. Like, or just do it here in the United States and make it like a WrestleMania event type, like in a football stadium, probably enclosed somewhere. I think that makes more sense than a stadium that was just built within like 3 weeks of the event. They built that stadium. That stadium was never there. Like what we saw in the Royal Rumble, that was all built like in less than 3 weeks. The whole stadium. Yeah, it was. They did it nice, but it looked empty as fuck. Like when you look at it, like from the cameras and stuff, it looked empty. This shit was like, they're like, oh yeah, there's 25,000 people here. You mean 25,000 crickets? Because that shit was empty. That shit was empty, man. I was disappointed. I wasn't like, because I look forward to the Royal Rumble, right, every year, because it's one of my favorite events. It's more, I like it more probably than WrestleMania, you know? And the fact that this year was just so lame, like even they were cursing out Triple H at the end. They were like F you to him and bring back Vince, and like they were chanting like so negatively coming from the Arabs over there. Like that's crazy. Yeah. The fact that it was at fucking 2 p.m. was so fucking weird. Like that's why everything was just off with it. It was just so wrong. I miss it when it's over here. Like they should just bring it back over here. Just do it somewhere where it doesn't rain during this time of the year. Like South Florida could have been a great Royal Rumble spot to do it inside the stadium, in the football stadium. They could have done it there, made it like really cool, like kind of like WrestleMania, but like at least they could hang the fucking sign and it could actually look like really cool, not just on the seats of the stadium they put the sign at. And fucking Liv Morgan forgot to point at the sign because she didn't even know what the fucking sign was at. She was just celebrating. She was like, "Fuck this shit," do her little rope thing and do her little thing and little fireworks. And she didn't even point at the sign. She was like, she just kept on going like a little Fraggle Rock. She fraggled her rock out of the stadium, and she was all happy, and I'm happy for her. I really am. She's a good one. She got busted for smoking pot. She's like, of course I'm gonna love her. Well, she wasn't smoking pot. She had some medicine in the vehicle, and they arrested her because of that. But she is licensed to smoke marijuana and so forth. And this happened in Florida, so Florida's kind of a little like strict on the marijuana stuff, which I wish they weren't as much, especially if it's for medical. Um, but other than that, I'm glad she's back at the main event. So that'll be very interesting for her. See who she's gonna face. See what happens. But let's continue on with the show. Talking about San Francisco earlier because the Super Bowl is coming up with the whatever that clown's name for the halftime show, the little bunny the little bad bunnies. He's gonna do his little ritual at halftime. That's what it is. It's a ritual. It's like it's they get the world to see it, and people are gonna talk about it, and it's gonna be like, oh, the talk of the town. And everybody's gonna like the next day. That's all they're gonna talk about because everybody's so brainwashed. Everybody's so hypnotized that they just sucked into this one individual and this one event, and other things that are going on around the world. Like nobody's paying attention to because everybody's just all sucked into this vortex of the Super Bowl and the halftime show. Like, are you serious? I don't care for it. I'm not gonna watch it. If the Patriots win, that's great for them. I'll be happy for them. If they don't, well, they don't. It just it's a Democratic Bowl. That's all it is. It's all Democratic teams, and they're gonna project a lot. Right? I think the halftime show is gonna be stupid. I think they're gonna have like this no ice thing, and they're gonna probably have the bunny in a dress, and probably some crazy shit. Do I care? Not really. I'm not gonna watch it live. Like I won't. I'll probably watch it afterwards, but probably from somebody else, from like a third party or something, and not give credit like to the NFL at all, because I don't want to give them my view. I'll watch like a third party person that will put it up, and then I'll probably check it out and go from there. And then I'll come to the determination that I know it's going to be a ritual. I know it's all bullshit. It's all projection. And, it is what it is. And I just feel like, how about a big earthquake happens? Probably like a big earthquake happening at the Super Bowl. That would be something interesting. Let me just check something out here real quick. Just trying to find something here. We got a good little lineup of videos to watch. So let's go ahead and check out that earthquakes, because there's like a swarm of earthquakes happening where the Super Bowl should be taking place, I think. They're already starting with their shit with. I hope. Imagine the Super Bowl, a big fucking earthquake happens during the halftime show, and the like the grounds of the Super Bowl open up, and then the bunny falls in to the ground inside, like the movie This Is the End. Oh, you can't make it up. But if it was to happen, hey, that's what they want. Let's check it out.
Breaking news this morning in the East Bay. People in the San Ramon area have been feeling shaking nonstop since about 6:30 this morning. We've seen more than 30 earthquakes at this point. The largest was a 4.2 right after 7 a.m. We felt that one here in our newsroom in San Francisco. There was also a 3.9 magnitude quake and a 3.8 quake. We're also getting new video from a 7-Eleven store on Kimball and Alcosta Boulevard. You can see the shaking and things falling off the store shelves right there. We spoke this morning with the USGS, and they say this is a continuation of the swarm of quakes the area has been experiencing.
Seems to be a continuation of these series of events that have been happening in the San Ramon Valley between Walnut Creek and Dublin. So some of these events, these earthquakes, some are going to be bigger than others, and some are going to be felt. Many of them are very small. So the significance is that this particular sequence is just continuing, and we know that this has happened in the past. So and these can go on for several months. So this is not something that is necessarily significant of something bigger. In fact, there's a very small chance that something bigger will happen through this series of events.
On Friday, the area saw its first earthquake in several weeks. The area has been hit with dozens of quakes since November. Bart also
you might get an earthquake in the Super Bowl. Look, the demons are awakening. They're awakening
during earthquake activity. Joining us right now is San Ramon Mayor Mark Armstrong. Mark, thanks for
a big ass earthquake, like a fucking.
Where were you? Were you
at least like a 6.9,
were you up and at 'em?
7?
Where were you? And what
big earthquake happening?
Well, when the first like biggest 69. One occurred, the first big one, I was still in bed, and it definitely woke me up. And we had things rattling and some bookshelves and things like that. So definitely felt the
players are over there. They probably felt this earthquake.
To have these earthquake swarms, but I
those
didn't
players
have any major
over there.
damage. And throughout
they left
period this morning, I haven't had any major damage. So far, although I did get a friend that reported to me they had some glass that
over there
fell and broke. So, but
they probably felt this earthquake.
No major damage reported at this time.
Yeah, so many people online reached out to me talking about they actually thought they were in a dream, and then all of a sudden another one hit, and they realized, okay, well, this isn't a dream.
No, it was real, but we've had so many of them that it was like, oh, it's another one. And so again, there's some excitement, there's a little bit of concern, a little bit of worry, there's some rolling that occurs, and but for the most part, it's kind of a jolt and a kind of a shake, and you hear some noise associated with it. But I hate to say it, but we're kind of getting used to them at this point, to the extent that you can get used to something that is a little bit worrisome. And definitely our residents have expressed some concern. But I try to reassure them that this is kind of a somewhat routine thing. Earthquake swarms are not uncommon, and we'll get through this all together.
How does this compare to others? I mean, you've dealt with these swarms for some time, several months. How does this morning, how did it compare to others?
Well, there's a couple differences. One was that the 4.3, to me, that felt like the biggest one that we've had since November. I mean, they're literally almost right underneath my house. So that was pretty exciting. But I'd also say we're having this concentration within the broader swarm since November. We're having a higher concentration today. And I don't know if that's over now or if we're going to continue to have them throughout the day, but this is a little bit unusual in that regard too.
Yeah, I think when I spoke with the USGS and when we spoke with the USGS earlier, I think what was at least reassuring to me hearing was that there have been a couple other times over the course of the last 30 years where they had large clusters, and there wasn't a big one after that. Certainly, that doesn't tell the future, but it just shows what we've dealt with in the past. I'll end on this. What is your message to residents who are concerned there in San Ramon?
Well, yeah, I would just, I know it's been a
get
little
that
bit unsettling,
earthquake
but I
in the
just
Super
want to
Bowl
reassure
halftime
everyone
show.
that the city is closely monitoring the situation. These
Hey,
earthquake
it's
forms
happened.
are not uncommon.
It's happened before in major events. Okay, the World Series,
San
I
Ramo's
think
emergency
back in
preparedness systems are
'89.
strong.
Was
We
it?
work closely with
For San
the
Francisco,
San Ramon
I
Police
think we were
Department, San
playing
Ramon Valley Fire Protection District, to ensure public
Padres.
safety. Please stay informed through
World
official channels.
Series,
You can go to the San
and
Ramon Valley Fire Protection
there was like a big
District
fucking
website
earthquake. A lot of
at
people died in the earthquake. Like the bridges
firedepartment.org. And
collapsed.
they've got some great
They had
information there
like
on how to sign up for
a lot of
alerts.
damage.
And whether
Hey,
it's the county warning system
they're due
or
for an
the Nixle
earthquake.
system, which you can text your zip code
What are the
to
chances of an earthquake happening during the
888-777.
Super Bowl?
Stay
I wonder if
tuned.
there's gambling,
In a
like
big
if they're
emergency
betting on
to
that.
radio
They should
systems.
be.
But be prepared. Do some
They should be a bet
preparedness actions. Go
in
to
Vegas
ready.gov website.
that
Have a
they
plan.
could
Make a
probably
kit.
accept,
Do those
saying
kinds
that
of things
there's going to be an
to make
earthquake,
sure you're
yes or
ready in
no,
case there is a big one
during the
day.
Super Bowl.
Even if this swarm doesn't warrant that level of concern, you should be prepared at
Imagine
all
a big
times.
ass
I used to
earthquake
work for
going
FEMA,
off.
and I'm quite used to talking about these things.
It happened.
And
Go check it.
again, this is
Like,
not a major
I think it was an
earthquake
89
that we need to be worried
if I'm
about
not
right
mistaken.
now. The scientists, as you
The earthquake
heard,
that interrupted the World Series.
they don't necessarily think this is a prelude to
Like
a
the police
bigger
had to go on the
earthquake, but,
field.
hang in there,
Like
San
the
Ramon residents.
the broadcaster were
And we're gonna
talking,
get
and
through
they were
this
like,
together.
"Oh,
We're ready for it."
we're having an
That's great
earthquake."
advice right there.
Like,
We
and
also
it was
encourage you
like
to go to our
the
website.
signal went out and everything.
Many of those links, but
And then when they came back,
San Ramon
it
Mayor
was
Mark
like
Armstrong, thanks for joining us.
people were on the
Thank you. Have a
field.
great day.
Like the cops were on the
Juma is
field.
also tracking these earthquakes that we've dealt with this morning.
Yeah, and the USGS giving us about a 25% chance in the next 7 days of feeling another magnitude 3.0 or stronger earthquake. Just a quick timeline. What we had this morning, those notable earthquakes, the first one coming in at 6:27.
Imagine it just
and a
ruptured
stronger
during the
one
damn
at
Super
4.2
Bowl.
at
It's like,
7:01,
look,
and
that's
then
what
most
happens when you go
recently,
against
we had a magnitude
Christ.
3.8 at
There you go.
7:27. So here's a look at the 4.2 that occurred at 7:01.
No.
Virtually felt across the entire Bay
They
Area.
all felt it. I'm pretty sure the football players felt that. I am 100% sure that the teams that are there for the Super Bowl and the media and all that, they felt that. That's going to be wild. That's wild times. I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep going with the news here, because we got a lot to watch. I want to make it I don't know if it's going to be 2.5. It might be 3 hours. Damn it. Trying to make it low, but it's okay. Here we go.
Well, it's being promoted by Donald Trump as a must-watch. The new Melania documentary has opened with around $7 million at the US box office, the strongest documentary debut in at least the last 10 years.
Wow.
It's also reportedly the most expensive documentary ever made, with a huge spend on rights and marketing. And even though audiences seem to like it, critics have absolutely panned it. Were we really expecting anything else? Joining me now is Sky News contributor Kosha Garda. Kosha, great to have you on the program. Should we read this as genuine interest in Melania, or is it just political tribalism?
Great question, James. I think it is a little bit of both. There is definitely tribalism because the whole MAGA set knows how much the left and the entertainment industry, and specifically the fashion industry, has snubbed Melania, and it's so funny, given that she is a straight cutout of a first lady and came from the fashion industry. But I also think there is genuine interest because she is a little bit of an enigma. She's very private, doesn't seem to want to thrust herself into the forefront the way other recent first ladies have. She's absolutely gorgeous, so she's very intriguing to look at, and her background and growing up in communist Europe, Eastern Europe, and how she came to the US and all of that stuff. So while that wasn't the focus of this documentary, we don't know that much about her really. And I think that was definitely part of it as well. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, the documentary focuses on the 20 days in the lead up to Trump's inauguration for his second term. Amazon has spent $75 million on this documentary. Do you reckon they're concerned about making a profit, or do they not so much care whether it makes a profit? This is more of a political investment.
Again, I have to say, I think it's a little bit of both. There is a precedent of this. Netflix cut a $200 million deal with the Obamas when they left office to run their production company. And I think we all know that they're not exactly film producers. So that's just the nature of the world that we live in right now. It's a little bit of a quid pro quo, probably. But I also think it's an interesting project, and it is important for the industry because this industry, Hollywood and entertainment, has been so captured by the left in terms of the big four studios, the types of content that they put out, the way it's distributed. And if this can crack that a little bit and show a different way where somebody who is a polarizing figure, maybe not Melania personally, but just the Trump brand, but has a lot of support from the right half of the country, tens of millions, 79 million people to be precise, support them, and there isn't much content being made catering to them. This is interesting if it sort of shows the way or gives a blueprint of how you can finance films that actually speaks to half the country that Hollywood tends to ignore.
I said earlier the critics have absolutely panned it. I don't know if you saw the review in The Guardian, but they described the film as, and kosher, I quote, a medieval tribute to Posate the greedy king on his throne, gilded trash, 2 hours of pure, endless hell. And kosher, that was one of the kinder reviews. Critics gave it 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it had a 99% approval score from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you make of that disconnect?
I think it's a perfect microcosm of the country, the everyman and what they want versus the elites and the experts telling you, don't believe your lying eyes. This is an ugly piece of trash, as he said.
I want to see the Melania
but the everyday person, found it quite refreshing, and I think we see the same thing in politics.
I need to
Just
watch
before
it.
we move on to something else, I read that Melania Trump was paid $20 million for her participation in the documentary, and the irony of it, people getting upset that she was paid $20 million. The US media could have had her for free, but they didn't want her, did they? They ignored her, they ostracized her, they panned her. So can you really blame Melania for saying, well, if you guys don't want me, I'll participate in my own thing?
Wow.
Not at all. It's that's a really funny and astute point. She actually stood up her own production company and actually produced the film. And, that's the way the model works in films. If you're the producer, you own the IP, you get that lion's share. And yep, they've had access to her now for over a decade, and, they sat on their hands.
Right. Trump says the latest Epstein document dump actually clears him, and now he's threatening to sue author Michael Wolff and even the Epstein estate because Trump claims that the latest Epstein files show Wolff and Epstein were conspiring to damage him politically. What was the conspiracy?
What he's alleging is that they were sort of talking behind the scenes. I think there's a couple of quotes in some of those emails where Michael Wolff was advising Epstein on how to stage a counter narrative to some negative press that was coming out against him. And Epstein allegedly said, well, how would Trump react to this? And maybe they were having some inside speak on that. I don't know what criminality there is in that. It just looks like standard discussing and media strategy per se. And so I think the reason for Trump doing this is he does tend to use litigation as a media strategy. And it's a way to drive and shape the narrative, drive the news cycles. Maybe you get some settlements here and there that don't prove guilt in a criminal sense, but do sort of embarrass people that have been at his throat for the better part of the last decade. And that's probably what this is about.
All right, let's finish with the Grammys because we need to talk about it. I talked about it earlier, but there's so much to talk about in it. Bad Bunny's picked up a Grammy and he's used a moment to call ICE out. Take a look.
Before I say thanks to God, I'm going to say ICE out.
Kosher, the Grammys political. Are we surprised?
As surprised as I was when the sun rose in the east this morning, James. They're so predictable, so boring, and that's what you get, and that's probably why their ratings are down, and nobody's really paying attention to what they're saying.
Indeed. Kosher Garda, always great to discuss US news with you. Thanks so much for joining me.
All right, let's keep it moving. We got a lot more to watch.
You guys know that I am a massive pop culture guru. So apparently someone named Lady Gaga, I think. Gaga.
It's pronounced
not MAGA.
Zhezhe.
Yes. Not
It rhymes with MAGA.
Yeah, Lady Gaga rhymes with MAGA. Well,
Gaga.
she's gone off on another sort of celebrity hate-filled, unhinged rant about Trump after Nicki Minaj had the gall to support him. Have a look.
In a couple of days, I'm going to be heading home, and my heart is aching, thinking about the people the children, the families all over America who are being mercilessly targeted by ICE.
He's so stupid.
Oh, shut up.
Thank you,
You
Rita.
absolute clown show. The people voted, and the overwhelming majority, and polls show this, want every single illegal immigrant deported. That's who's being deported.
I don't watch
no one's
the
being
Grammys.
targeted who's
Fuck the
not
Grammys.
there legally. I mean,
Grammys
what's
is
hard
just-
to understand? There was an election.
another
He
trap.
has a mandate.
I don't watch
He's
that
implementing the law.
Here, here.
And interestingly, the
don't
rapper
care for
Nicki
it.
Minaj came out and
I don't
showed
watch
her
any of
support
those
for Donald
awards.
Trump.
For
Of course,
what?
she's getting
I'm wasting
furious
my
back
time.
But that's what Lady
I'd rather do my shows here.
But it is the Hollywood Lancers and the Nicki Minaj's and those sorts of celebrities who do stand up and speak out. They're the ones we should all be applauding.
So let's keep it moving. Fucking Gaga, stupid Gaga. Liberal hive mind. Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by FiveBond.com. Now, this is exactly what I was telling you guys, this whole Mamdani thing. I know people were losing their minds. And of course, I understand the sentiment, especially if you're from New York. But you know, what can you do? The writing was on the wall. This guy was going to win. You know, at some point, you can't fix stupid in the New York City electorate. But basically, the stance that I took was, look, New Yorkers are going to elect this guy. And you know what? It's going to be a learning experience. They're going to FAFO because Mr. Mamdani here is an absolute fraud. You know, he's well marketed, sure, but he is not actually what he claims to represent. And I pegged him on day one as a total Nepo baby, as a child of extreme privilege. You know, the whole story of his background, him being of Indian descent, but born in Uganda. I mean, that basically tells the whole story. Let's just say I don't think his family was slumming it up in Africa. No, likely. He comes from entrenched power there. It's likely that his family owns industry. It's likely that he comes from money, big frickin' money, especially if he's getting a top education in America and living in a $2 million condo in Manhattan. You know, the guy's never even really done anything in his career other than run a flashy campaign. Out of touch Nepo baby singing the song of socialism was clear since day one. And now, well, we've got an interesting update that really shows how deeply entrenched Mamdani's family really is. It appears that his mother has actually now been referenced in the Epstein files as partying with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, this pretty much tells you all that you need to know. I mean, just to be in that circle, you need to be big time, to be schmoozing and boozing with the Palm Beach elite, with all the puppet masters in New York City. You know, this guy claims that he's a descendant of enslaved Africans. He claims to be a man of the people, but he is clearly the biggest fraud of all time, and I said that it was going to backfire. The writing was on the wall since day one, and boy, has it already begun. Let me show you guys the latest interesting update relating to his family and their connections, and then of course Mamdani's very rough early track record here. Little spoiler alert, he's off to a very rough start. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so yes, it's true. Mamdani's mother is now exposed as a New York socialite who had a buddy-buddy relationship with the Epstein inner circle. I got this from the Times of India. Zohran Mamdani's mother, Mira Nair, mentioned in newly released Epstein files. Fresh disclosures from the United States Justice Department's latest release of Jeffrey Epstein-related records have drawn attention to filmmaker Mira Nair, mother of New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani, after her name appeared in an email about a 2009 social event linked to Ghislaine Maxwell. According to the email included in the files, Siegel wrote, just left Ghislaine's townhouse. After party for film, she added Bill Clinton and Jeff Bezos were there, Gene Pagozzi and director Mira Nair as well, as reported by ANI. I'd say the conclusion is pretty clear here. This guy is a total frickin' silver spoon in mouth Nepo baby. And I'd also like to point out that Jeffrey Epstein was indicted on solicitation of a minor back in 2008. And this was widely known, by the way, not to mention his run-in with the law in South Florida, I believe in 2001, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, I mean, this guy was already pegged as a total pedo, and yet his mother was schmoozing and boozing with these people. What an absolute joke. But now, of course, I mean, we're not going to jump to any conclusions there relating to Zohran Mamdani. What I'm drawing from here is less about, you know, the connections to Epstein and more just the overall picture. It's a total I told you so moment. This guy is no man of the people. This guy is an out-of-touch latte leftist who's simply cosplaying as a man of the downtrodden. He's basically Hasanabi in politician form, and obviously electing a socialist Nepo baby never ends well. I think Donald Trump actually said it best all those weeks ago. Here's the quote. President Trump praised Zohran Mamdani, saying that the New York City mayor has, quote, tremendous assets and a really good personality, but some policy concepts that really haven't worked for over 10,000 years. And that is exactly correct. Yeah, well, who would have thought that well-scripted and high production value campaigns, ooh, so artsy, frickin' fartsy.
I'm Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani. Do you know what's better than voting for me once? Voting for me twice. Hola nueva yo! Marhaba. Ana ismi Zohran Mamdani. Since then, a lot of people have asked me if I was surprised by the results. In some ways, I was. Being a politician means listening, not just to your supporters, but your critics too.
Mark Zuckerberg gets to buy another island.
Ab aapka time aa gaya. I am once again asking for your donation.
Yeah, who would have thought that that kind of stuff, that high production value, New York artsy-fartsy film direction, wouldn't equate to strong common sense policies? And it's like I always say, you've got these la-di-da, latte socialists who present all these ideas as transformative. Ooh, never been tried before. But they're literally just regurgitating the frickin' Stalin playbook that's failed every single time. Yeah, it's not gonna work. And now what's it been, like a month that he's been in leadership? And I think reality is starting to kick in as Zohran Mamdani's entire agenda seems to be really at a complete standstill, considering the fact that, well, it's not exactly feasible. None of his promises make any sense. We got a report here that shows Zohran Mamdani is now shelving his housing plan as New York City faces a $12 billion budget shortfall. In other words, the state is broke. And of course, he had to address this, right? And well, he did what most of these Democrat clowns do. He blamed everybody else, so it's everybody else's fault.
There is a massive fiscal deficit in our city's budget to the tune of at least $12 billion. We did not arrive at this place by accident. This crisis has a name and a chief architect. In the words of the Jackson 5, it's as easy as ABC. This is the Adams budget crisis.
Oh, it's Eric Adams' fault. I'm no fan of Eric Adams, and I'm sure it is to a certain extent, but obviously this is a bullshit excuse. And even then, even if it was in fact true that all of this was the previous administration's fault, well, for this guy to pretend as if he's the solution when he's offering basically the same policies, but even more far left Looney Tune, the idea that it's going to get better with Zohran is ridiculous. New York City is in that place because of the flight of wealth. They enacted all kinds of policies post-COVID that basically pushed some of the most productive people out of the state, and now they're collecting a whole lot less in terms of tax revenue, but spending levels have remained. In fact, they've actually increased in a lot of areas, and well, you can't afford it. This isn't rocket science, and the warnings have been there.
New York does not operate in a vacuum. It competes with other cities, and so this idea of somehow raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, who, by the way, I would point out, pay roughly 15% of their income right now between city and state, raising taxes on them will simply drive them away. Shouldn't the focus of a mayor be on delivering services to the constituents of the city and doing that by raising the most revenue as possible without chasing businesses and the high income taxpayers? This is your issue. It's a national issue, not a local issue.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford childcare? What Zohran is saying is, I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
why
my
is that
goodness.
the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
They've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
So Mayor Mamdani has said that he doesn't think that wealthy people and corporations would actually leave if their taxes go up. Do you disagree with that?
It's not a gamble I want to take because we're already down about $13 billion in revenues from people who did leave our state. And when asked, many of them do complain about the taxes in New York, something I'm trying to do something about.
But people mention this to Zohran Mamdani in interviews and in back and forth during press conferences. And he claims, I could go find the clip, but I'll just kind of paraphrase what happened. Basically, Zohran Mamdani recently was asked, well, don't you think that increasing taxes and all the regulatory stuff that you're suggesting, don't you think that, it's going to cause all the most productive millionaires to leave the state? And he said, well, I spoke to a millionaire and he told me he'd have no issue paying more in taxes. Is this guy a complete moron or what? You spoke to one self-flagellating millionaire, and that means that the greater macro phenomenon of pushing away wealthy people by creating more burdensome policies, well, that's going to be totally negated? No, of course not. Certainly some people will stay, but a lot will choose to leave. And you know what? When you're talking about that level of wealth, all it takes is a couple and boom, billions of dollars are gone. Ask California. It's happening to them right now. You know, again, there's no thought. He's not operating in reality. He's clearly got no freaking experience. Everything with this guy is an act. It's la-di-da stoner college politics, taking everything for granted, just repeating over and over again. In the wealthiest nation on earth, everybody should simply have everything by virtue, but that's not the way that it works. No, you need to keep sustaining the engine. And very quickly, New York could go from the most wealthy place on planet Earth to crumbling with the wrong policies put in place. And well, you, Zoran, I hate to break it to you, the policies are wrong. And we know that based on historical context. And I think that makes you draw the conclusion that, you know, I don't think he freaking cares. It's not like it affects him. He's clearly richy freaking rich. And I'm pretty sure he's hiding the extent of that wealth, just like Hassan. I'm pretty sure his family is running some serious operations in Africa on the backs of African cheap labor. I'm pretty sure his parents are wealthy to an extreme level. And so it's not like he really cares. He's just playing the freaking game. For him, it's about social points and virtue signaling on the world stage. Ooh, I'm such a fancy New York socialist. And you know what? It's going to have some seriously detrimental consequences. In fact, I think it already has. Here's another great example. He was recently warned that his refusal to do something about the illegal homeless encampments in the state was going to lead to disaster, especially during cold weather. But no, the unhoused people, which is what the woke people like calling homeless people now, they have a right to live in squalor on the sidewalk in the freezing cold during the winter. And now we got Siberian Arctic winds coming in. And well, it's their right 13, to be on the number, streets there. He did the 13. Whole wokey, I'm not going to enforce, you know, basic common sense policies thing because that's, I don't know, racist or something. That's far-right fascism. And well, now I believe 13 people have already died on the street. 13 homeless people have frozen to death. And by the way, Mayor Eric Adams, the guy that he blames for everything, tried warning him about this and had a policy in place that was clearing out these encampments and doing something about it. And he reversed that policy.
Elect Zoran Mamdani announced that once he takes office on January 1st, he'll stop sweeping homeless encampments across our city. I won't criticize him on every issue, but when a policy harms New Yorkers, I have to speak up. Showing compassion for those sleeping on the streets is not a sweep. It is humane. Ending this action will create a quality of life nightmare. Just look at cities that allow encampments and you'll see the damage. Worse, leaving people to suffer in the cold isn't just neglectful, it's a disgrace.
And so, like I said, you know, the writing was on the wall with this thing. And I know there was a faction of New Yorkers who really wanted to stop this guy at all cost, although I think their tactics were a little short-sighted. Blah, blah, blah. He's a spooky terrorist. I don't think that was the greatest idea. But anyways, I know people were working tooth and nail to stop this guy, but for me, the writing was on the wall since day one. He was going to win, and New York City was going to FAFO. Well, here's the FAFO. It's happening real quick. This is what happens when you vote based on the whims of 20-year-old college females with freaking pink hair. This is what happens when you vote based on fancy campaigns and big unrealistic promises. And you know, it's the way things go. It's the political pendulum. New York City is going to FAFO, and then hopefully they correct course. This was the easiest prediction you could have made, that New York City would go to crap and Zoran wouldn't be able to afford, I mean, it appears literally any of the things that he was promising. So the housing plan now being shelved, no free buses and subways, no free public transportation, no, just a crippling deficit problem, which is likely to get worse as Zoran Mamdani continues to push away all the most productive people in New York City. Easiest prediction anyone could have made. But hey, you know what? That's democracy. This is what New York City voters wanted. This is what they got. This guy is going to make Mayor Bill de Blasio look like Rudy frickin' Giuliani in comparison. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, so we're going to keep them moving because we still got more to watch.
That's right, we know about your mom. Now listen, we was with you, Zoran, we voted for you, Zoran.
Oh, this is Zohan.
Zoran, we advocated for you. You ain't getting up, get up in there and lie to us. You lied, Zoran, shame, Zoran.
Shame! Shame!
Damn, they put the Zohan on check. You didn't put the music on this thing because it's just ridiculously crazy. But the Zohan, he's you imagine if if Epstein is his father? Well, he does have a father named Epstein, but imagine if it's Jeffrey, because his mom used to hang with the Epsteins and with Jaleel, and she went to the parties too, and I am sure she probably, look at her, she probably got knocked up by someone, and maybe Jeffrey was like, "Fuck it, let me just bang this one out." She's rich, so maybe she got pregnant and popped out of Zohan. That's wild. Look at this picture with Bill Clinton in the jacuzzi. A lot of people in that list. A lot of people in that list. Oh, a lot of weird shit. I need to have that little beepy thing, so. But I know the news feed will come back up. There you go.
To go to CNN. The latest release of the Epstein files contains more than 3 million pages of material. It includes references to Donald Trump, among other notable and powerful men. Joining me live now is CNN reporter Julia Benbrook. Julia, wow, getting through this is going to take some time, and this is not the end of the Epstein files either.
A lot of documents here. This is the largest release that we've seen, more than 3 million pages of materials. And among those, more than 182,000 photos and videos. We did hear from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who said the Justice Department has completed its review of the files related to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and that the White House did not have oversight of this process. He spoke with CNN's Dana Bash earlier today, and Blanche acknowledged the disturbing nature of much of what is in these files, but said that none of it met the threshold for a prosecution. So as of right now, don't expect any more action in that specific way. Now, there are mentions of a lot of high-profile names throughout this, and that's not a surprise. We know that Epstein ran in those circles. A review of these recent documents found that Trump was mentioned more than 1,000 times and in various different ways. It's important to note that he has denied any wrongdoing related to Epstein and has not been accused by law enforcement of involvement in Epstein's crimes. Now, as we are seeing these documents, we need to take a step back as to how we got to see these documents. And it was a bipartisan effort on Capitol Hill, led by Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie. They forced a vote that then led to almost unanimous support. And then Trump ultimately did sign it into law after saying that he didn't think this was a necessary step to make all of these things public. And those two lawmakers that I mentioned, they have said that this release is significant, but that it's not enough, that they're not satisfied with everything that they've received. And they take a couple issues with how this played out. Some of the deadlines that were given to the Department of Justice were missed. And then on top of that, they are questioning why some things were redacted and left out, also questioning how some of the names were not redacted, things that should have been taken care of. So they are requesting some more information from Blanche. Blanche has said that he is open to having those conversations.
Thanks so much for the update. And that is not the last of the Epstein files, as I mentioned.
A lot of Epstein
live
files
there with
coming out.
CNN's Julia Benbrook.
All right, cut that music out. I'm telling you, this guy is very sleazeball, man. screamed CIA, a lot of CIA, a lot of
Files were being delayed and forgotten about. There's been a big drop over the weekend, and there's some big names in these files. And I just want to remind you that there's a difference between being in the emails and on this so-called list. But let's talk about it. Joining me live now is former White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney. Mick, thanks so much for your time. Geez, there's some big names here. Can we start perhaps with Bill Gates? He's in Australia at the moment. He was at the tennis. He's issued a denial, but geez, this is damaging.
It is, Laura, but you have to give sort of the right preface here, which is this is raw data. Just because something is in the file doesn't mean it's necessarily true, and that's what a lot of folks are saying. Is that anybody can say anything about anybody these days. And they do, and now it's ended up in the file. So we have to be very careful about jumping to conclusions. That being said, a lot of the information that has come out, at least some of it, is contained in sworn affidavits by alleged victims and so forth. So you probably give that a little bit of credit, at least if someone's willing to sign an affidavit. But look, you're right. The bottom line is this, is that there's a ton of salacious information in here, several million documents unloaded. As typical on a Friday or a Saturday, we a news dump going into the weekend to try and lower its profile. But the bottom line is it's going to be weeks, and that's not an exaggeration, before people go through all of the documents.
Yeah, 3 million.
And
who can read 3 million pages?
The FBI, roughly half of the documents remain unproduced at this point, so there could be more.
Wow.
And there's more.
Okay, interesting. I wonder how they are dividing it up in terms of what is released and what isn't. But what is clear to me at the moment, there's so much interest in this, and there's a lot of guilt just by association of Jeffrey Epstein, because now we have all of this hindsight, right? But what strikes me is the amount of sucking up to Jeffrey Epstein that these powerful people were willing to do, even after he was convicted of these sex offences, is just baffling. Can you give us an idea of when he was alive, just how powerful he was, and why did that power remain even after these convictions?
I didn't move in those circles, so I didn't know Jeffrey Epstein. I know a bunch of the people who are named in various pieces of these files and so forth in these reports. If you're asking me, do I think that sex and power have an impact on people? Yeah, they probably have for a long time, and it looks like that's what this was about. One of the more interesting things that, to your point, Laura, that's come up over the last 48 hours is whether or not these documents seem to indicate that the Kremlin was involved somehow in Epstein's operation. Was the KGB helping to fund this? That could go to your point about, why did he have so much money? Why did he have so much ability? Why did he have so much power if he was being assisted by the KGB in order to, develop dirt on famous people? That would explain part of it. But again, this is still very early in the analysis.
Yeah, and of course there's the conspiracy that he was actually working for Israel's Mossad as well, but there's nothing in these files that would be giving any credence to that theory. But the big names, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, apparently mentioned 1,000 times in this latest dump. Again, it doesn't make him guilty of anything, but I'm looking at, I guess we can call it collateral damage as well. We've got these big headline figures, but also people like Peter Attia, who now works for CBS. He's become, this longevity guru. And some of the email exchange, I think there's a big entertainment value in this, and people poring over these private correspondence is going to have, look, there's a lot of news columns
they're trying to get
going to be written about this. It makes our job a lot easier here in the news.
That's what they're trying to do.
It's not going away. And how many times have you and I talked about that over the course of the last year since Donald Trump got elected, about how they've mismanaged, the administration has, the drip, drip, drip of these documents and of this material. You have to ask yourself why this all just wasn't put out at one time in January. Pull the Band-Aid off and let the chips fall where they do, as opposed to providing this constant new feed of this salacious material that people will eat up. There's no question. Look, there's a reason tabloids are as successful as they are. People love reading about this stuff. And it is absolutely going to be a distraction for Donald Trump. There is no question, a distraction for the Republicans. Don't get me wrong. There's Democrats in these files as well. This is a purely bipartisan, a true bipartisan sort of endeavor. But Donald Trump, being who he is going to have to face a lot of questions for the next several weeks until the next dump comes out.
Of course, he's gonna have to answer, or it's just a distraction. You know what this reminds me of? That disease that came out, that virus that came out, that was bioengineered and spread amongst all of us. It was all premeditated, and they released it on purpose, the Chinese, and they're continuing to do it. And there's another one out there that they released to the world, and a lot of people are in panic on the other side of the globe. It hasn't reached the panic levels here yet, but I'm sure that's coming again. And we're gonna have another 2.0 pandemic. And what the fuck, man? It's like it's just, we're living in very unique times. They truly want to get rid of half of the population of the world. They can try to find a way. If they gotta poison us through these bioweapons and just push it on the people and try to get them all, that's what they're gonna try to do. 1% controls the world, and if you're out of line, they're gonna take you out one way or another. They will try to take you out. All right, let's see what else we got here. Ooh, we got some Benny Johnson. Let's check it out.
What's up, guys? Spenny. Remember that one time that Jay-Z rapped to and publicly made out with Marina Abramovich? This wasn't some type of ritual or anything from one of the world's most renowned Satanists and somebody who did spirit cooking dinners for all of Hillary Clinton's friends, right? Remember that from the Clinton emails? This is also the person who would torture Lady Gaga out in the woods. There's a lot of really evil and sick stuff about Marina Abramovich. Don't look up her art unless you have a very strong stomach. Anyway, this was weird, right? This is a very strange person to pull up in front of everyone and publicly make out with. But Hollywood doesn't think it's weird. Hollywood laughs at it. They don't even talk about it, actually, because they all know what's going on behind the scenes. They know that, it is the power of Satan that you need in order to actually have a career in Hollywood. And it's been like that for a long time. That's why the only people that really got roasted last night at the Grammys was Nicki Minaj, who was out here saving Christians. Nicki Minaj has become quite close with the Trump administration because of her desire to save innocent Christians from being tortured and massacred in Nigeria. For doing that, she is now roasted by all of Hollywood. It really makes you wonder, the occult, what's the only religion that they're worried about? What's the only religion they're scared of? Christianity.
Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is still.
Look at this. Notice Chrissy Teigen here in this clip, like doing a thumbs up that Nicki Minaj is not there. Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. Don't look too much into the two of them. Boy, they are some. You got some dark arts going on with the two of them too. Anyway, here we go.
She is.
Everyone's cheering.
She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nikki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look.
So funny. It's so funny. Everything was so funny. All the speeches for these freaks and degenerates and Supreme Court justices were there. Everybody there crying and weeping and mewling and bitching about modern day politics. This is what we tune in for. We tune in for people that look like this to tell us about politics. Yeah. The response from Nicki Minaj to this was Chrissy Teigen has a dick, among many other things. So Nicki Minaj decided to choose violence when it came to Hollywood mocking her and to spill the tea, as it were. Everybody knows Chrissy Teigen has or had a dick, allegedly. He says, with her little Chucky doll. Okay. Should I do a daily story time about who's been doing what? The internet said yes to Nicki Minaj last night. At one point, had 200,000 votes. Here we go. Nicki Minaj doing a story time. As they do their rituals tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked because of the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Every tongue that rises up against me in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. Watch. Post a little magic wand there. Let's go. Here's the story time. She posts photos of Beyonce and Aaliyah with Jay-Z and the ages which they met, where Jay-Z started allegedly dating them. Here we go. Are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are, and your soul will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story times, since I was telling you all what I know and continue to attempted bullying. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated, until I tell you about the sabotage this Rico is finding out about Billboard. So she's saying that Jay-Z and Beyonce are sabotaging her and her career. Well, they are known for that. Trevor Noah, who's now being sued by Trump over an Epstein joke, refuses to come out of the closet when everybody in the industry knows his boyfriend, allegedly. Nikki was right about everything. Maybe I should discuss the brainwashing techniques they use. Yes, please do. What the F? Nicki Minaj says. Photo of Jay-Z and Leah. Nicki Minaj then posts this Wendy Williams just kind of punching gif. Any Christian who votes Democrat, again, is a fool. They're showing people it's okay to disrupt church during worship. This is not how they truly feel about you. The veil is lifted. No morals, no integrity. It's enough for them to have an opinion, and they've escalated into physical intrusion of places of worship. The demons inside them are so bothered all of the time. Yeah. Nicki Minaj, by the way, is not just doing this for attention. She's been talking about this for a long time. Nicki Minaj has been hinting that Jay-Z is the most evil person in the music industry for a decade now.
Who is the biggest in the music industry?
I want to say, but it would be so real that I can't.
You gonna plead the fifth?
I gotta plead the fifth on that one. But honey, child, if I was to say that name.
Oh my God, I'm dying to hear this name.
It's two names that I want to say, honey. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, two guys, for lack of a better
Two guys?
term. Yeah.
Two men?
If you want to call them that.
Wow. Two infantile dickheads.
Dickheads. Wishing for the kids to fail right now, but I ain't gonna. So keep it moving, and I am gonna blow up your spot one of these days.
So that's what she did. Waking up to Nicki Minaj, one of the biggest artists in the world, confirming that Hollywood sacrifices children and realizing every conspiracy turned out to be true. Nicki Minaj, by the way, was the most searched artist worldwide on Google, surpassing the Grammys. So every artist that received a Grammy, Nicki Minaj took them out. None of the artists presented even ranked near the top of Google searches. Okay. Fun fact, Nicki Minaj's only Grammy performance was in 2012, and the Grammys received an all-time high of nearly 40 million viewers that year. This year's viewership won't even come close to that number. Okay, let's just go through the Jay-Z allegations real fast. Jay-Z is accused in civil lawsuits of horrible things with children alongside Diddy.
That's
Jay-Z
why
does
Diddy,
appear
they don't let
a
him out of
lot
jail.
alongside Diddy in a
He
lot
still
of
has his
different
case pending.
various ways. Some of them are horrible. A lot of them.
He needs to go to jail next.
Okay. So these are all
He's the next
trials
one
that are
needs to
ongoing. I'm going to give your lawyer a buzz cut. I want a lot of dollars to dismiss lawsuit. Tony Buzzaby is this lawyer who says that he has a bunch of quote unquote survivors of abuse from Jay-Z. Judge dismisses Jay-Z's extortion defamation lawsuit against Tony Buzzaby. So the judge has said, no, you're not allowed to, this lawsuit effectively is allowed to move forward. A California judge reversed course on Monday and fully dismissed Jay-Z's extortion and defamation case. In a 65-page ruling, the Los Angeles County judge said he was not wholly satisfied with the decision, but he tried to balance the competing interests at play and would wait for the Court of Appeals to step in. Jay-Z sued Busby last year with claims a high-profile Houston attorney said he was peddling lies when he filed a lawsuit saying Carter just did horrible things to kids. Let's just say that. Yeah. Judge throws out Jay-Z's defamation. So I guess the trial's still going, right? 50 Cent mocks Jay-Z for attending Mufasa red carpet after, predator allegations. Jay-Z was there on the Mufasa red carpet. Why? Well, because his daughter is and Blue Ivy is in the movie. See how that works? See, they're in the movies. See, it's great. They're in the club. Okay. Certainly not the first time that these kind of allegations have been made against Beyonce and Jay-Z. Jaguar Wright, chilly details about Diddy parties. She implicates Jay-Z, saying that he has hundreds of victims ready to come forward, connecting a sinister web, tying him to Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
So is there a tie to Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. Jay-Z named in the Epstein files. That happened this weekend. Again, they're just allegations. Okay, they're allegations. So you gotta go prove them. But there are allegations again of abuse of young people. Okay, that's it.
Allegations of
what
abuse.
What about
That's crazy.
Beyonce and Aaliyah? How old were they when Jay-Z started dating them? Beyonce said that she was 18. They met when she was 18. Allegedly, they started dating when she was 19. Cutting it close there, bro. He was in his 30s. Aaliyah, there was rumors of them when she was 20. Okay. He signed Rihanna when she was 16, but there's no credible reports of them dating. Okay. That just is what it is. Oh. Well, this is the queen of rap. Proving she can be the queen from 3,000 miles away. She wasn't even invited. Yikes. Ladies and gentlemen. Like, yikes. Yikes. Okay.
Crazy.
That's what you got to do to make it in Hollywood, and that's why I'm in Florida. YouTube. Okay? See that? It's your boy Benny. Yeah.
Crazy Benny. All right. Let's keep it moving.
Chicago health officials are warning residents about the spread of a dangerous illness.
No.
CPH says there have now been 7 cases of meningococcal disease since January 15th. 2 patients,
Lord.
both adults, sadly have died from this infection. The disease is spread through direct contact with saliva and usually requires close and lengthy contact to spread. Symptoms include rash, high fever, and headache. So here now is Dr. David Wynn with Rush Hospital. You are an infectious disease doctor treating both adults and kids.
Don't be
Thank you so much for
kissing
being with
people
us
you don't know.
about
Me,
this.
Marissa, yes.
Such an important warning to let folks know about. When we briefly touched on the symptoms, and they seem to start to look like something you'd get during a normal winter illness. When can things turn? And at what point do we look at this in terms of taking a couple of sick days to seeking medical attention?
Yeah, that's a great question, Marissa. Things can turn pretty quickly when we're talking about meningococcus. It can progress very quickly. So if you're feeling very ill, like to kind of mildly at first, it may turn more serious quickly, and that's when you definitely need to seek medical attention.
We've seen 2 adults be impacted here very seriously, sadly. What age group is most at risk for a serious case of this?
That's a good question. Probably young. The very young are
Oh yeah,
are
she's
at risk,
she.
and
Yeah,
very
both of them
older
are
at risk as
trash.
far as age groups go, but also people with certain medical conditions like immunocompromised may also be at risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the best way to protect ourselves? I'm sure people at home are like, meningia, what is this thing that we need to be looking out for? How can people at home really look out to protect themselves?
Sure. So this is
kissing
meningococcus is
people you
one
don't know.
of the bacterial meningitis causes. I think a lot of people may have heard of that. But there's a couple other bacteria that cause it, but this is definitely one of the more severe ones and moves pretty quickly, as I said. There is a vaccine for it. And we typically give it in the United States in adolescence. Okay. And that's kind of to make the kind of epidemiologic risk period of, teenagers, they may be getting more in close congregate settings, getting closer contact with other kids and stuff like that. And then college settings, for down the line, and even military. So those are those kind of settings. And so, at least two of these patients with the cases were in homeless shelters, as I understand it, and those are close congregate settings, so that would be a high-risk place. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we're keeping in mind how this spreads, very close contact, as we mentioned, so something to be aware of as we head into the rest of the winter season.
Yes.
For sure. Dr. Nguyen, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about this with us. So glad we can give folks at home a little bit of a heads up on this.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Of the 7 people who died when a fishing boat sank off Gloucester.
WBZ's Louisa Moeller's live for us in Gloucester tonight. Louisa, the community really being hit hard by this loss.
David, Lisa, this is the deadliest fishing tragedy to hit this community since the 1991 perfect storm sank the Andrea Gale, taking the lives of the 6 souls aboard her. The dangers of the sea are woven into Gloucester's history. And because of that, 2 seasoned fishermen told me that the captain of the Lily Jean, he was scrupulous. And the journey he embarked on last week, they say, was entirely typical for this time of year.
Accurcio Gus Sanfilippo, captain of the vessel. Paul Beal, Sr., member of the crew. Paul Beal, Jr., a member of the crew.
Gloucester State Senator Bruce Tarr slowly listed the names of those lost in the sinking of the Lily Jean fishing vessel.
John Rusinitis, a member of the crew. Freeman Short, a member of the crew. Sean Terrian, a member of the crew. And Jada Samet, a NOAA fisheries observer.
His emotions tied not only to his political position, but to his friendship to Captain Gus Sanfilippo.
Is one of the people that I look to in this harbor.
Al Capone described Captain Gus's multi-generational fishing legacy.
If there was a fishing hall of fame, they would be in it. Gus's father and my father grew up together in Sicily. They fished there.
And all of the people at this news conference cautioned against speculation over what happened to the Lily Jean on a bitter January day.
40 to 60 miles is the standard winter fishing grounds. And winter means whatever winter brings you.
The Coast Guard was alerted to Lily Jean sinking when a beacon went off on the boat Friday. And a frigid search by the Coast Guard was called off with only 1 body recovered. The Lily Jean sunk in over 300 feet of water off the coast of Gloucester.
Body.
Right now,
You think
Tar's
all the
saying
other
it's unclear
bodies
if she'll
were
ever
able
be brought to
to
the
survive
surface.
that?
And as the
No.
investigation unfolds, a pile of flowers
cold.
grows next to Gloucester's Fisherman's Memorial.
That
For those
water,
who live this
once you
life,
get in that water,
the pain will not go
you don't
away
have much
soon.
time.
When a fisherman's wife is worried, we're all worried because we've all been there in some shape or form.
Now, a joint Coast Guard and National Transportation Safety Board investigation is continuing. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we spoke with a woman who is keenly aware of the risks of the fishing life, and we heard about her organization and how it helps the widows who are left behind from these tragedies. Live in Gloucester, Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
Help so appreciated. Louisa, thank you.
Wow, like that's a sad story, man. You know, they look young, they look fit, they look good. They had an emergency, their boat capsized, and they are no longer with us. That water, it provides and it takes. And this time around, it took. And 7 lives. At least they found one of the bodies. So at least one was found. But the others, they didn't even have a chance. What a sad story. Let's keep it moving. Still got more to watch here.
Breaking news.
We are breaking in to take a look at this fire that is happening in Nashua, New Hampshire. This is Sky Ranger live over the scene, a very active scene at this point. What we know is there was a gas leak at a medical building
in Nashua, New Hampshire. This is on Amherst Street. That gas leak led to a large fire. You see the plumes of smoke that are coming from there. The first responders lining the street as well. This just happened. I can tell you there is a school nearby. They are sheltering in place, mostly because of the very active scene around this medical building right here. Again, we're going over the building. We have limited information at this point. All we know is a gas leak led to a fire, to all of this smoke, and for now, the firefighters trying to put it out. Whether or not anybody was inside, we do not know. It's a commercial building, again, a medical building. What that means in its extent, we don't have details as of yet. We just know, as you can see, the extent of this, that this is a large fire.
That's crazy.
And it's going to take quite a bit of time for them
New Hampshire.
to get it out. And with the wind, as you can see, the smoke
It's been
is
windy.
drifting, so there
I was
are
about
going
to
to be
say.
many factors when it comes to fighting this fire. Certainly,
It's
the
been
cold
windy.
is always one of the obstacles that firefighters have to deal with frozen lines and issues as ice builds up on the area in which they are working. You can see the snow-covered buildings that are around there. Again, this is Nashua, New Hampshire. This is Amherst Street, which leads right into the town of Amherst. And so they are saying, please stay away from this area if you can. This is going to take a long time to deal with. This is a commercial building, what they're calling a medical building. There was a gas leak, and that led to this fire. As Sky Ranger goes around, you can see the embers there. You can see some areas that are still on fire. There still seems to be quite a bit of work to do as we're taking a live look. These are in pockets as well. So it does look like they're going to have to surround this building to get this fire out. Look at the street. That's Amherst Street right there. And there you can see all of the ambulances and the fire trucks, everybody that is there trying to help. And that is why they're asking, please stay away. They need that room. You see all the lines that are going there for the fire hoses. There are quite a few. And again, it does look like a fairly large building. And from what we can tell, and again, it's pretty difficult, but there are
Yeah, a lot of
hot spots
fires,
all
like
over
commercial
that building.
fires,
You
like
see them on the
buildings.
ladders as well, trying to
This is a
attack
medical
from above.
facility, so I wonder what they had
All
there.
stemming from a gas leak. So we are watching this very closely. We want to see how this plays out. You can see there are cars there. There are clearly, this is a medical building. If you think about it, it's a Monday afternoon. You kind of have to assume that people were inside at the time. We have no report of that yet. And the building itself now looks to be fully engulfed and demolished. It is totally should be demolished
Yeah, the
at this
roof is
point.
gone.
This is a complete this is horrible for this building in and of itself. How terrible to see this, that there is no structure there basically left to save. Again, Nashua, New Hampshire on Amherst Street. So this is right over the border. As you go over from Massachusetts into New Hampshire, look at the ladders there, and the firefighters up there trying to do their best. There's still a lot of black smoke at the base. It does look like they have a handle on it. We're not seeing a lot of hot spots, a lot of flames out there. So it looks like they have a majority of it under control.
I usually go that way.
The top of your screen now engulfed with the smoke, but the top of your screen is where we can still see hot spots. What that means, I don't know. It's too difficult from this angle to determine how deep into this building
And then you
those
keep going
pockets
north.
of fire are.
And then you get into New
And you
Hampshire.
can see all
It's really nice
of
up
the
there.
surrounding area. We have first responders. So this is a large and active scene. Nashua, New Hampshire is busy at this time. Of course, we're heading into the evening commute. There you can see the other side of the building. There you can see them fighting from the ground. Look at the debris as
Damn.
well on the ground already, those charred remains of the building. So right now it does look like the building is a total loss. They're just trying to contain the fire at this point. You can see the cement around it. Since this is a commercial building, it does appear that there's distance between this building and others. In a gusty wind situation, would be
You can see the
good
fire
news in the
still coming
hopes
up from
that
the
this does
roof.
not spread any farther. But again, look at how much
Yeah, look at all this
fire
burn.
is still left to put out, and how much damage
That there's snow on the
already
ground,
been
so the
done.
snow is gonna help.
Lost all of this area is
But
all now
they got a lot of work
and that
ahead
might
of
be
them.
why we're not seeing an active fight to get these flames under control. You notice it's not near anything. Everything surrounding it has been completely burned down. The most active area looks to be over what's left of the building that is standing, and that's where we have
We need to
the
see a
large
before and
ladders
after
that are
picture of
there,
this
as there are 2
facility.
fighter fighters. It looks like on each ladder doing
Wow,
their
but this
best from
looks
above.
like pretty
There you see
bad.
another hot pocket right
Do you
there
think this
that needs to be
had like an
extinguished.
explosion?
But the active
You know,
firefight
maybe
is
an
coming off
explosion
to the there
from the
you see
gas
the ladder
line.
at the bottom of your
They caught
screen.
fire. It just
There
like
you see the
just
firefighters
blew up,
and the work from
and
above to put this fire out.
you have fire
You can
everywhere
imagine
now.
what it must be like when you're that high up
It
and you're
had
on
to
that
be.
ladder trying to work. Look at they're slowly making their
Wow,
way
look at that.
down, trying to work in those conditions where you can
Look at the
barely
fireman right
see
here.
what's
He's going
happening
down
around
the
them.
ladder
But there
now.
are still, as you can see, tremendous amount of flames within that building. So from
Damn.
above and below, this looks like it will
I
take
think, you know, in
time
the
to put
future,
out. Still,
these
you have that
firefighters
black smoke
should
coming. So
be
that means there are
having
still
drones
very,
in their fire
you know,
trucks, so that
hot,
way
a lot of
when they
flames.
come
When you
up
start
to
to see the
something
white
like
smoke,
this,
you're hoping
they'll
that
throw
they're
the
getting
drone
it
up
under
and they
control.
can see
That is
everything
just
from
not the
above to
case
see where
yet.
they need to go,
Off to the top,
you
as
know,
Sky
and where
Ranger
to
moves
attack.
farther north, there you can
They
see
should
that
have
there are
drones
some
up in
areas
the air.
not even being attacked at this point with the
So that
flames.
way
You
they
have to
could
admit, you got
come
to
up with a
divide and
better
conquer, and they're
plan to
focusing
attack
on the
where
building
the
itself.
like
There are ambulances
where
right
they need to
there.
get
That's
to.
Amherst
I
Street.
mean,
We don't have
maybe
reports
in the
that anybody
future
was in this
that'll
building.
be a part
And if
of
you're just joining
the
us, this
you know,
all was
firefighter
sparked from a
force.
gas leak.
I mean, it'd
Told
be a
this
good
gas
job
leak at a
for
medical
someone that
building
knows how
sparked
to
this
maneuver
fire
those
that has
drones.
engulfed the building,
You know, you could
and it
just
looks
have
like
a
surrounding the
firefighter
building
just
itself. However,
specifically
from
for
this vantage
drone work.
point, it doesn't look like the
You know,
flames have
and
spread
go up
off
and
the
then
property.
give the
But as you
calls
look
to,
from
you know,
above, from Sky
relay
Ranger,
the
this is a
messages like
commercial
where you seen the
district.
fire, where you
So
seen
hopefully this will be
where we need to
contained to
go
this one
first.
company
I think
slash
that's something they should
business,
think about for the
business
future. Because
building
right
that
now
is
you
right
see how
there.
they're just spraying everywhere. I think in the future the firefighters should have a drone division, a drone person always on call there at the firehouse. So when you get these big like 3 fires, 2-3 alarm fires, you know, it could go as high as 4 or 5, and you don't want 5. I've seen it before here, and it's pretty intense. It's pretty like wow. I think I have video of it too. Of I think it was a 4 or 5 alarm fire that happened, and it was just wicked. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, let me set this up, and let's watch.
Night with breaking news, a devastating update in the case of a missing 17-year-old girl from Fishers. Haley Busby is believed to be dead, and police now have a suspect in custody.
Oh, no, what?
For 4 weeks now, there has been an intense search for the teenager, and just within the last hour, Fishers police held a news conference saying with the evidence they have today, Haley will not be coming home. Our Brandon Schaff is live in Fishers tonight. Brandon, what have we learned? Just a heartbreaking development.
Yeah, Jenny, good evening to you. We're standing right outside of the Fishers Police Department where we got that tragic update from city leaders, from law enforcement that Haley Busby, they believe that she's not coming home, that she died. And this is not what they were hoping would be the outcome of this, but we will certainly give you as much information as we know based off of what they told us here in the press conference. We want to show you a picture of the suspect, the person who they believe is responsible for this. This is 39-year-old Tyler Thomas of Ohio. This is someone who they believe is the suspect here. We do not usually name suspects until formal charges are filed by prosecutors, but because we have this is a high profile nature to this case. And there was the press conference here. We wanted to make sure that people knew exactly who it was that they believe was responsible here. Evidence was collected here and in Ohio, collected in the home and the car that was driven by Thomas here. And this is really a heartbreaking outcome. That's what the different officials said here as well, really reiterating the point that they will do everything that they can to support the family who have been posting constantly online, just trying to get answers and doing everything that they can to try to make sure that they did what they could to try to find Haley ever since she went missing at the beginning of January. The suspect is being held on charges that are unrelated to Haley Busby, and will have a court appearance that is scheduled for February 2nd, so tomorrow. And they do have a reason to believe that Busby was at the suspect's house and at a short-term rental in Ohio. So also, police telling us that they believe that the two met via online gaming, an important detail there. And they believe that Busby encountered the suspect within days of her being reported missing. So that is the update that we have as of right now. We will continue to give you more information as to exactly what is going on. And also the mayor, he spoke as well, talking about this tragic loss.
And I know that her family is devastated currently. And I'm confident that our community will rally in the coming hours, days, and weeks to stand with that family in their grief and share in the burden of mending and healing from this tragic loss.
And that was Fishers Mayor Scott Fadness speaking about the tragic update here at the police department. We'll continue to get you more updates as we get them, and we'll be covering more of this throughout the evening. Jenny, back to you.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much. Again, such a devastating update out of Fishers. Want to kind of give you again a look at those details. So Busby was originally believed to have run away from her home in Fishers January 5th.
Wow.
Police later say she got in the car with somebody, was believed to be in danger. Now, again, police say they believe 39-year-old Tyler Thomas from Ohio was the person who took her. Fishers police say that evidence shows it and say that he admitted to picking her up from her Fishers neighborhood. Again, the two met, as Brandon mentioned, police say through online gaming. Police say they searched his home, his car, and they determined he took her to Ohio, both at his home and at a short-term rental in Hocking County, Ohio, which is in the southern part of the state. His home is in Columbus, Ohio. He is now in custody. He's being held at the Franklin County, Ohio jail without bond. Again, prosecutors have not charged him with Haley's disappearance. He's being held without bond on 2 other felonies, pandering obscenity and tampering with evidence. So major development in this case. Police also saying that they're providing counseling not only to Haley's family, but also they'll provide counseling to students at HSE where she attended as they try and grapple with this loss. We will, of course, share more details with you throughout the night on WTHR.com and here on WTHR Plus.
That's crazy. You see, this world is wild, man. We live in wild times.
In Queens, where investigators wanted to know exactly what caused the death of a man and a dog found inside a mobile veterinary van. Another man was found unconscious just outside of that van, but he did survive. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon at the scene in Flushing tonight. Sonia.
Yeah, Joe and Tanya, the van behind me is where a lot of animals' lives were saved over the years, and some couldn't be, but where veterinarians worked at all hours of the day and made themselves available to provide low-cost care for pets. This morning, it was the scene of a tragedy that is now under investigation. Police at around 9:25 this morning found a 57-year-old man and a dog dead inside the van, a 73-year-old man outside unconscious. He's now in stable condition at a hospital. Neighbors tell us the owner of this van is a veterinarian the community relied on for years for low-cost help when their animals needed it, and he made himself available at all hours of the day. They also say he powered this van with a generator, which we can see here. They wonder if there was something wrong with it and if that was to blame for this tragedy. One neighbor told us last night at around 7 or 8, the generator was sparking and the vet who owns the van was troubleshooting it.
A guy that was working for him, he was trying to get it going, and then the guy came and helped him out, and then they got it started finally. But yeah, the thing was making a lot of noise.
He has a history of helping people out in the community.
Yeah, neighbors say it is strange and a little noisy to have a mobile vet van in front of their homes powered by a generator, but they respected what was taking place here and described the owner as a good guy. Police have not yet identified The man who died or the survivor of this incident.
His dog died?
Sonia Rincon, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Damn, him and his dog died. That is crazy. And that's another one for New York. Why is he out in a mobile home? At least he had like a little mobile home, but it was so damn cold. I don't think like I slept outside before when it's really cold, and if you don't have really good installation, you're just you're just asking for trouble. And the fact that he died and then his dog died, like at least he went with his dog, so that's such a beautiful story too. But like, just weird, right? Like, just weird deaths, weird shit's going on. Like every time we watch the news all the time here lately, and it's good to be advised. And that's what I've been doing lately. I've just been getting into the news and just show you guys what I'm watching along, and you get to witness the same shit I do, and it's pretty interesting. All right, let's check this out.
The body of an Indiana teenager has been recovered in Perry County. That's according to the suspect's defense attorney. 17-year-old Haley Busby has been missing since early January. This morning, Columbus resident Tyler Thomas appeared in court, accused of being involved in her disappearance. NBC4's Gracie Collins was
So they found the body.
And tells us what she
So
learned.
they got the guy. They got the guy. Good.
Sierra Thomas received a $1.5 million bond for the charges that he's currently facing.
Why is they giving him bond?
His attorney says that he anticipates that there will be more charges coming out of Hocking County. Now, in the courtroom, Thomas appeared virtually, and the hearing only lasted a couple of minutes. He's charged with one count each of handling sexually oriented matter involving a minor and tampering with evidence. Following the hearing, I spoke with his defense attorney, Sam Szymanski, who says after speaking with his client, they decided to contact the FBI. Busby was last seen at her home in early January in Fishers, Indiana, north of Indianapolis. Fishers police say she was in contact with Thomas through online gaming. Columbus police then searched his Columbus home and a rental property in Hocking County, where they found evidence that Busby was there. Szymanski revealed that her body was found in Perry County on Sunday.
We accompanied law enforcement and the FBI to Perry County. And we assisted with pinpointing the location of Ms. Busby. And so, in speaking with Prosecutor Rugg, who is the Perry County prosecutor, mercifully they were able to work through the evening with BCI at the helm and have, we believe, recovered Ms. Busby's body.
Thomas is expected back in court for a preliminary hearing next Tuesday. Local for you in Columbus, I'm Gracie Collins, NBC4.
Gracie, thank you. We will continue to follow this breaking story both on air and online. For the latest information, you can visit our website, NBC4i.com.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, so let's continue on with this story because this story has my attention. Put the volume up.
Have now been found in Ohio. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Bob Donald.
Haley Busby appeared in court today. CBS 4's Jesse Wells starts our team coverage for you tonight.
He's very pretty.
During an initial court hearing in Franklin County, Ohio, a judge agreed to set the suspect's bond at $1.5 million. The suspect is currently facing 2 charges in that county, but the investigation into the tragedy doesn't stop there.
Damn.
Sadly, Haley Busby won't get to celebrate any more birthdays.
Wow.
My name is Haley.
The Hamilton Southeastern Junior went missing from her Fishers home in early January before her remains were found in Ohio over the weekend.
We grieve for this tragic loss of life.
Following this court hearing in Franklin County, Ohio, the attorney for 39-year-old Tyler Thomas detailed how the suspect led police directly to the victim's body.
Our client had
he should
every
be
right in
no
the world
bond,
to keep his
man.
mouth shut
Maybe
and not
1.5
participate
million.
and let whatever chips that were
Are you
fall
kidding
where they
me?
may. He did precisely the opposite. He's been cooperative.
So far, Thomas has not been charged with
It's
murder,
crazy
but
as
court
fuck.
records show he is facing one count of pandering obscenity involving a minor and one count of tampering with evidence.
A search warrant was executed at the defendant's home. Digital devices were seized and found to contain child sexual abuse material containing images of the juvenile.
Prosecutors claim the suspect tried to delete sexually explicit videos of the victim who he
1.5
initially
million.
met through online gaming, while Busby's remains were found in Perry County, just southeast of Columbus, Ohio. The suspect's attorney believes Thomas will be charged with murder in Hocking County, where Columbus police believe the victim was killed while staying at a short-term rental property.
It's easy to say, oh, our thoughts and prayers and all that trite BS. We preferred in this case to let our actions do the talking. I believe that those actions illustrate just how deeply committed we are to doing everything within our power to help the Busbys move forward with the grieving process.
Finally, the Fishers Police Department told us they are no longer the lead agency on the case and referred us to the FBI, who in turn referred us to the Columbus, Ohio Police Department. That department says they do expect additional charges to be filed against the suspect.
Yeah,
Jesse Wells,
he's not getting out of
CBS
jail.
4 News.
I mean, it was cute, giving him a little hope, right? That's how they provided a little hope. But that motherfucker ain't coming out. No way, no 1.5 million. No. That's like you're now you're insulting the family. That's not a good thing. So that should change to no bail. He should be held, and I don't care how much he's cooperating. Like, he's guilty as fuck. So he should have been given no 1.5 million bail. That's just ridiculous. All right, guys, let's go to the next video here, and let's check it out.
I want to take you out now to Tucson, Arizona. The search is on for Nancy Guthrie. Savannah Guthrie's mom has been missing, and we want to now. Looks like we're getting some neighbors' sound right now. Let's listen in on live now.
Walking, not walking, driving.
What's this like to see this happen here?
Sad, and we're really concerned. Obviously, we for her family, and obviously we truly hope that they find her.
This is a quite safe.
Safe, shocking, surprising. Yeah, very much so.
Can you give me just spell your first last name?
Jeff, Jeff, and last name is Lamy, Lami.
How long you lived there for?
6 years. Yeah.
What was when you found out what all this was about?
Sad, concerned, and we truly hope that they find her.
Did everyone know who her daughter is?
I did not actually. She was a person that's lived here. We had no idea. She was just a person in the neighborhood who was part of the neighborhood.
How would you describe sort of the brush around here? I mean, it's not a classic.
It is the desert. Can be treacherous. Not right now, but there's rattlesnake season. Thankfully, not right now. Cactus. I mentioned the javelinas earlier. So it's the desert. Absolutely.
And what about the community? Close-knit? Everyone knows each other?
I mean, it's a safe community. It's a suburban neighborhood.
Do you think she could have been kidnapped?
I can't say that. And I truly
mean,
hope.
she wouldn't have walked out, though, right?
Truly hope that that's not the situation. I truly hope.
But you don't think she could walk out in this, like you were saying, it's cactus?
I would have no idea. It's rough terrain, but I have no idea. Yeah.
And people were out walking yesterday night to look for people. Is there any plans going forward for the community to really rally together? And
as I mentioned earlier, there's this incredible community group of volunteers who do search and rescue, and they were out in force yesterday. So, and they've asked all of us to look through our yards, our neighborhoods, our brush. And unfortunately, my understanding is that nothing's been found.
do you have faith in your neighbors to really step up in this?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know the name of the community group?
Did they go up anything on the Facebook?
Oh gosh, I would contact the sheriff's department because I know that they work in conjunction with them. Actually, I see people on the mountain who get lost or get dehydrated or what have you, and they're out in force rescuing people. I mean, they're an amazing group of people. I think the sheriff's department would be a good conduit for that.
And then I'm coming in late. Had you heard anything yesterday at all around the time they're saying?
We noticed the helicopter. We noticed the sheriff's department helicopter. We noticed the drones. We noticed the large response, and then learned later on that unfortunately she was missing. So thank you for your time.
Okay, for sure. For sure.
Okay, please.
We'll do them all.
Let's grab them both.
Yeah.
All right. So, neighbor talking to both local and national media that has descended on Tucson for the missing 84-year-old woman. And we are learned today earlier from the Pima County Sheriff's Office that Nancy Guthrie's home is now a crime scene that they are investigating. So again, we are going to be talking to TMZ at the bottom of this hour on the latest there for the search for Savannah Guthrie's mother. We'll be bringing that to you in just moments as well. And welcome back, everyone, to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us. And next up, we want to talk about the big breaking news coming from southern Arizona as the search continues for today's show anchor Savannah Guthrie's mother, who has been missing for the last couple of days. And now the Pima County Sheriff's Office says that her home is a crime scene. Nancy Guthrie continues to be missing at this hour. Here's a live look at the neighborhood as the search continues. Want to go out right now to TMZ's Michael Babcock, who TMZ continues to cover this really strange story, Michael.
Hey, Mike, absolutely. I could not believe it when we heard this sheriff this morning and the way he categorized the story, because I think many people, when you hear, Mike, that you've got this 84-year-old woman who has gone missing, I think you start to think, okay, could this be a situation where, not understanding fully what was going on, and she wandered off, a sort of a silver alert type of situation? That's not what this is. And the Pima County Sheriff made this very clear this morning. So this is in the Arizona area, Tucson to be precise. And Nancy, who is Savannah's mom, is 84 years old. We have been told that she is not in good physical health. So just getting up and walking away is not an option. She was not capable of doing that at this point in her life, Mike. And you listen to the sheriff, and he says, she's last seen about 9:30, 9:45 Saturday night. She is reported missing Sunday afternoon. And when they went to the home, law enforcement, they saw things that they described as being concerning to them, that they believed indicated that this was, in fact, a crime scene. And now they have gone and taken the step to say, yes, in fact, that is exactly what this is. She did not get up and walk away, that there was a crime that was committed here. There was some sort of foul play, and they are desperately now trying to find her.
Yeah, it's so terrible for the family, of course, including Savannah. I mean, NBC is about to have a really, really popular week. I mean, we're going into the Winter Olympics on Friday, Super Bowl on Sunday that NBC is telecasting. Michael, what do we know about on air for Savannah Guthrie? Is that going to be off limits now for a while for her?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Mike, and that she was, even more so than typically when she was obviously hosting the show every morning, the Today Show, that she had some extra duties here now, and we're certainly going to have a lot of extra eyeballs with the Olympics and with the Super Bowl coverage. Obviously, it happening to be NBC's year to broadcast the Super Bowl. So, I've got to imagine that this is going to change a lot of things. She was not on the show this morning. I would imagine yesterday on Sunday when all this started to unfold that she probably got on a plane and went over there to Arizona. She has released a statement. She has thanked everybody for the outpouring of support and love.
This is a wild story.
Our main focus here now is bringing our mom home safely. You obviously hope that's the outcome here. It's just the way you listen to the sheriff speak, it doesn't paint a pretty picture or a very hopeful picture. Hopefully we're wrong, though, and hopefully this does have some sort of happy ending here, because it's scary stuff.
Yeah, it really, really is. Given everything that the sheriff said this morning, really changed the outlook. I think a lot of people are perceiving the story now. Michael, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. We appreciate all the updates, and we'll continue to track it along with you.
Thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it.
You take care. All right, everyone. And again, another live look here at the neighborhood of where this investigation is happening right now. We do want to show you just the full statement from Savannah Guthrie's family, including herself, putting out this statement saying, on behalf of our family, I want to thank everyone.
I wonder
for
what the hell
thoughts,
happened
prayers,
there,
and
man. That's
messages of support right now.
just
Our
weird.
focus remains on the safe return of our dear mom. We thank law enforcement for their hard work on this case. And
Then why would they?
anyone
Oh,
with
because she has
information,
money.
contact the Pima County
Hello,
Sheriff's
her
Office
daughter.
at 520-351-4900. And again, we'll be keeping an eye on this major story. Get any updates, including another news. We will sure to bring that to you right here.
All right, let's
Live
keep it
Now.
moving. Oh no, not this idiot.
Here, on the subject of contempt regulations, the House is
Hey, we're fair balance here. I have to listen to both sides.
And do you plan on working against those resolutions?
Well, those decisions, of course, will be articulated by Democrats.
Wave those hands, boy.
At the
We
appropriate
need more hands.
time. It's my expectation we'll have a discussion
More
tomorrow
hands.
as well about these so-called criminal contempt resolutions. House Republicans cannot be taken seriously on this issue. The Department of Justice is now withholding, in violation of the law, more than 3 million documents related to the Epstein files. More than 3 million documents. And we don't hear a peep from James Comer or any Republicans about the failure of the Department of Justice to comply with a law.
Where do you want the other 3
as well
million?
as a subpoena that had been previously
Nobody
issued
has gone to the first
in a
3 million
bipartisan way.
yet.
I'm a hard no. On
That's a lot. 3 million.
House Republicans, I
And
don't
then people
believe
still
it's
finding
serious.
shit in there.
And I also think
Big. 3 million.
been
And this guy wants
ongoing
the other 3 million too.
by the
You guys are
Clintons
fucking
and their
idiots.
lawyers to testify that have been
This guy
repeatedly,
always like
apparently
against the
rejected
grain.
by House Republicans on the
You know,
Oversight Committee.
You
Because
say
they don't
up, he
want a
says
serious
down.
interview. They
You
want
say
a charade.
right, he says left.
And it's not something that I'm down with.
Like this guy is a no-win situation with this dude. This dude's like complete like Clownville. All right, let's keep it moving. Was this the House Rules Committee holds a hearing on the pending litigation?
Welcome your testimony. Thank you, Chairwoman Fox and Ranking Member McGovern. I urge the Rules Committee to grant a prompt rule for the House's consideration of both the resolution recommending that the House of Representatives find former President of the United States, William J. Clinton, in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with a subpoena duly issued by the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, and the resolution recommending that the House of Representatives find former Secretary of State Hillary R. Clinton in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with a subpoena duly issued by the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Subpoenas are not mere suggestions. They carry the force of law and require compliance. Former President Clinton and former Secretary Clinton were legally required to appear for a deposition before the House Oversight Committee. They refused, and actions have consequences. Last July, Republicans and Democrats on the House Oversight Committee's Federal Law Enforcement Subcommittee unanimously approved a voice vote, a motion to subpoena former President Clinton and former Secretary Clinton for depositions as part of our investigation into the federal government's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell criminal cases. On August 5th, I issued subpoenas to them. The testimonies of President Clinton and Secretary Clinton are critical to understanding Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network and the ways he sought to curry favor and influence to shield himself from scrutiny. In fact, then Secretary of State Clinton would have signed off on the annual Trafficking in Persons report. In 2010, under Secretary Clinton's tenure, that report began covering trafficking within the United States. Given her service as Secretary of State, she could provide firsthand information about the federal government's efforts to combat international sex trafficking. Their testimony may also inform how Congress can strengthen laws to better combat human trafficking. Since issuing the subpoenas, the Oversight Committee has acted in good faith. We've offered flexibility on scheduling. We've tried to accommodate. The response we received was not cooperation, but defiance, repeated delays, excuses, and obstruction. President Clinton and Secretary Clinton claimed to have been treated unfairly because the Oversight Committee accepted written statements under penalty of law from former U.S. Attorneys Gonzalez, Holder, Lynch, Sessions, and Garland, as well as former FBI Director Comey. Those written statements were accepted because none of those officials recalled any information relevant to the Epstein investigation, nor could we find any evidence that they did have personal relationships with Epstein. By contrast, the Oversight Committee required in-person testimony from former U.S. Attorney General Barr and former U.S. Secretary of Labor and U.S. Attorney Acosta, both Republicans, because they possessed information directly relevant to the investigation. The Clintons had documented relationships with Epstein and Maxwell, including President Clinton's trips with Epstein and Maxwell, evidenced by numerous photographs, flight log records, wedding invitations, and other materials. We repeatedly informed the Clintons' attorneys that a written statement would not be sufficient. The subpoenas required a deposition. Federal courts have consistently held that witnesses may not impose their own conditions upon the manner of congressional inquiry. Yet President Clinton and Secretary Clinton attempted to do exactly that, submitting a brief, bulleted written statement that was neither comprehensive nor responsive to the Oversight Committee's many unanswered questions. No person, not a former president or a private citizen, may willfully defy a duly issued congressional subpoena without consequence. And there can be no doubt that this bipartisan congressional subpoena was lawful and duly issued, as Ranking Member Garcia confirmed for the record during the committee's markup. The Clintons have flatly refused to appear at all, despite repeated warnings that the Oversight Committee would move forward with contempt proceedings. 2 weeks ago, the Oversight Committee voted on a bipartisan basis to hold both President Clinton and Secretary Clinton in contempt of Congress for refusing to comply with their subpoenas. President Clinton must be held accountable for his actions. Secretary Clinton must be held accountable for her actions. The Rules Committee and the full House must take this opportunity to uphold Congress's investigative authority. And we must do so to demonstrate to the American people that justice is applied equally to everyone, regardless of position, pedigree, or prestige. I also urge the Rules Committee to grant prompt rule for Representative Gill's House Joint Resolution 142, disapproving the action of the District of Columbia Council and approving the D.C. Income and Franchise Tax Conformity and Revision Temporary Amendment Act of 2025. As I've said many times before this committee, Congress has the constitutional right to review legislation passed by the D.C. Council under the D.C. Home Rule Act. It also has authority to block such legislation. In this case, it should do just that. In December this past year, the D.C. Council enacted, without the mayor's support, legislation that blocks corresponding tax relief for D.C. residents and businesses that is afforded them at the federal level by the Working Families Tax Cut Act. These reforms provide much needed tax relief for both individuals and businesses, relief that keeps more of Americans' money where it belongs, in their pockets. However, the D.C. Council has cherry-picked pieces of these federal tax reforms and decided to just ignore the application in the local tax code. The tax provisions they have chosen not to implement in the D.C. tax code include no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for senior citizens, no tax on auto loan interest. This hurts seniors and hardworking American families, and that's just the start of it. They've also cut various tax credits for D.C. local businesses, including research and development and manufacturing incentives, stifling them from growing their local economy. The House must swiftly exercise its constitutional responsibility to oversee the District of Columbia and stop this misguided legislation from going into effect. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to unite in the support of D.C. taxpayers and businesses and support this necessary resolution of disapproval. Again, I ask the Rules Committee to grant a prompt rule for the House's consideration of these measures, and I welcome the committee's questions. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Comer. Mr. Walkinshaw, can you hold on just 1 second?
Sure.
I can't figure out where that pounding noise is coming from. No.
All right. We're going to keep it
It's,
moving.
I'm sure it's just,
Old people having their moments. Keep it moving. Liberal Hive Mind.
Welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, you know, on my initial covering of the Epstein files, I was being purposely reluctant to go on a full-on victory lap. You know, there was some sketchy stuff relating to Donald Trump, and I didn't want to jump the gun and then, you know, something drops that makes me look like a complete idiot. I also didn't want to really rag on the Democrat Party until we got some more information. Well, today I got to tell you, I'm feeling a whole lot more confident. I think it's fair to say we didn't necessarily get any new information relating to President Trump and the Epstein files. It's not the first time we've seen these wild allegations from totally untrustworthy, uncredible people. All of it, of course, either during the election season or after he was already president, people calling into hotlines and making all kinds of claims. And I'm pretty sure that claim from that hotline the Democrats are running with here, claiming Donald Trump has now been proven as an accomplice. Isn't that the same accusation from 2016 where a troubled woman with a history of drug use claimed that she was assaulted by Donald Trump at Jeffrey Epstein adult party at the age of 13? They concluded that she, quote, made it all up. But even if it's not, they deem those accusations not credible or unfounded. And so it really feels like we haven't really crossed into new territory relating to President Trump and the Epstein accusations, not to mention the actual emails from Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell themselves seem to suggest Donald Trump rejected them at every point in turn. But when it comes to Democrats, on the other hand, oh boy, does it continue to get worse, because it's not just Reid Hoffman anymore. No, we're starting to see that Democrats did pretty much everything in their power to preserve their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, even after he had been convicted of horrific crimes against young children. Yeah, who would have seen this one coming? The Epstein saga that Democrats thought would be the undoing of President Donald Trump is now thoroughly backfiring in their stupid frickin' faces. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, actually, I want to start off this clip by doing a little bit of a flashback. Remember that Cameron Kasky video where he went on CNN and declared that Donald Trump was an Epstein accomplice?
I am appreciative that the president is being transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
Well, of course, within less than 24 hours, he was forced to retract that. But, you know, Democrats ahead of this Epstein drop, they were so confident to point the finger at the other side and claim, oh, those colluding and engaging with Epstein, oh, it's Donald Trump and those evil MAGA Republicans. Well, absolutely not, you complete friggin' utter buffoon. It actually appears that Jeffrey Epstein's best and closest friends, they all seem to be top-level Democrats. You know, all your little role models, Mr. Cameron Kasky. And this is, I think, the most important little piece of nuance that needs to be applied. Yes, there are claims from anonymous sources making random phone calls to the FBI and other agencies, but there has been no direct proof. There has been no emails between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein personally. There's been no interactions between the two. And you would think if he was an accomplice, if he was so buddy-buddy with Jeffrey Epstein, if they were engaging together and going to the island or going to the parties, if they were coordinating and engaging on, you know, business and other things, you would expect them to have some email correspondence. But there's been absolutely nothing. I think there's been one email between Melania and Ghislaine, and it's not a particularly interesting email, but basically there's been no communication. And what we understand so far is that Donald Trump rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's little honeypot scheme. Jeffrey Epstein also admitted that Donald Trump never got a massage to Michael Wolff, who was really fishing for dirt on President Trump. But we do have emails showing Stacey Plaskett, again, another known face, going back and forth and coordinating with Jeffrey Epstein and even talking about visiting his island. Multiple emails, a very close relationship. Here's an email from August 14th, 2014, where Stacey Plaskett reaches out to the Jeffrey Epstein island manager to arrange transportation to the Little St. James Island on the 18th of August. And this is very relevant because Stacey Plaskett had previously testified under oath that she only visited Epstein at his Manhattan home and her office. Ah, yes, another Democrat constantly lecturing us. You know, your typical holier-than-thou Democrat engaging on very friendly terms with Jeffrey Epstein, who at that point was already known to have committed horrific crimes against young people. And of course, that relationship continued basically till his death. He was was actively texting her directions during a congressional hearing when Michael Cohen was testifying. So that's one Democrat. Then we've got none other than top Democrat Chuck Schumer. We got an email here that shows that Jeffrey Epstein was the point person for arranging meetings between Democrat congressional candidates and Chuck Schumer. Ooh, yikes. And again, this was from 2018. This is pretty damn recent. Oh, but it doesn't end there. We've got another top Democrat here, Nancy Pelosi's little protege. We've got none other than Hakeem Jeffries, who back in 2013 was allegedly begging to have dinner with Jeffrey Epstein so he could ask him for money. And yet everywhere you go on social media, all the leftoids keep just saying Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. But again, we've learned nothing new about President Trump. There's no smoking gun. There's no damning evidence. There's nothing to suggest that he had a close, cozy relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, quite the opposite. And we also know very early on, President Trump ended his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He kicked him out of his club. And so you have one individual, the president, who kind of got a clue of what Jeffrey Epstein was doing.
Breaking news, the Wall Street Journal is out with a new report describing the fallout between President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The Journal reports that a spa worker from Mar-a-Lago often made house calls to Jeffrey Epstein's home 2 miles away. But those house calls, quote, came to a halt in 2003 after an 18-year-old beautician returned to the club from a house call to Epstein and reported to managers that he had pressured her for sex. The HR manager faxed Trump a letter suggesting that the club ban Epstein, and Trump agreed, which does mirror the president's own public comments about why he cut ties with Epstein. The White House is responding to the Wall Street Journal, writing, no matter how many times this story is told and retold, the truth remains President Trump did nothing wrong, and he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for being a creep.
He realized what was going on. He realized there was a honeypot campaign that Jeffrey Epstein was engaging in. He rejected every offer. He realized that he was up to no good, kicked him out of his club, disassociated. There's no proof that they had a relationship after the early 2000s, once it all came to light who Jeffrey Epstein was, but Democrats who are now lecturing us and who keep pointing the finger at Donald Trump, it appears all their politicians, their top freaking politicians, maintained their relationships with Jeffrey Epstein until the very end, until he was killed in prison. My opinion has not changed whatsoever. They're attempting to flip this on the president, but this remains, as it always has been, a Democrat and Hollywood scandal. And the names we should be focused on are not President Trump and Elon Musk, unless we get some actual damning information. No, the names we should be focused on are Bill Gates, Prince Andrew, Reid Hoffman, Bill Clinton, all the top congressional Democrats. And of course, now as we're seeing a lot of coded language related to pizza and hot dogs and other things, maybe it's time to bring back the names James Alefantis and John Podesta, maybe, just maybe. But anyways, it's really telling what the Democrats are doing, You got Harry Sisson and all these other clowns in everyone's comment section saying, why aren't you talking about the Epstein files? But the hypocrisy there is so incredibly deep because they're the ones who are not talking about the Epstein files. There's nothing new relating to President Trump, but there's a whole lot new relating to all of these top Democrats and Democrat donors, and yet you won't hear a peep from any of these clowns. It's so telling they're ignoring the true scandal because they know it's blowing up in their faces, and now they don't want to face the music. The silence of the Democrat Party is really the most telling part. After months of boasting and launching accusations and attempting to politicize the Epstein scandal, now all of a sudden they haven't said a word. And again, it always comes back to the same thing. If they truly had something new, if they truly had something damning on President Trump, they had 4 years under Joe Biden to use it. And you really mean to tell me that the Democrats, who are always first to immediately go to the nuclear option, they wouldn't have exercised that option? Give me a freaking break. They know this is their scandal, and now they're freaking chicken shit. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, just keep it moving.
Person arrested today after an FBI and SWAT raid revealed a biological lab at a home in the Northeast Valley. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm Sasha Loftus. This all happening near Washington and Hollywood today. That's where we find 8 News Now reporter Aaron Ariano live near that home with the latest in the investigation. Aaron.
Yeah, Sasha, we're learning new details after that press conference wrapped up earlier this afternoon with Sheriff McMahill and the FBI. The house in question that was raided was right here behind me on Sugar Springs Drive. Take a look at the scene. There's still some active police activity, but over to where I was standing on my left, the camera's right, is a pile of disposable bags. We're not sure exactly what's in it. We know the hazmat team was here earlier today, and that there was a pile of bags being guarded by that police vehicle. It was at that home here along Sugar Springs Drive where they found possible biological material, including refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids. It was part of a search warrant conducted just before 6 o'clock this morning at two homes. They cleared one home, but police say they found those unknown biological substances in that Sugar Springs Drive home. The hazmat teams, like I said, were called in. The sheriff is calling this investigation extremely complex, but he made it clear that there is no threat to the public.
I want to make sure that those folks that live up there in that northeast area have a clear understanding that the very large first responder presence will likely remain in this neighborhood for several hours and potentially even days. This has to be a slow and methodical process by design. We have to take these situations very seriously.
Like Sasha said, one person was taken into custody, but it's not known who that person is or what tipped law enforcement off to this really bizarre discovery. A lot more questions than answers. That's according to the sheriff himself. So we're going to continue to follow this investigation. For now, reporting live here near Sugar Springs Drive, Aaron Oriano, 8 News Now.
They found one.
Aaron, thank you. Now, that second home involved in the search sits along Temple View Drive, about a block away from the first home. Again, Metro Police saying no threat was found at that second location.
The yays are.
Damn, that's crazy. All right, let's keep it moving.
News Now. Live, local, now.
Good evening. Police say 8th graders at a Las Vegas private school are seen on video committing a brutal sexual assault against another student. And it's a very disturbing story. This is 8 News Now at 6. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Brian Loftus. Now, we want to warn you, this is a story which is very sensitive and graphic. 8 News Now investigator Vanessa Murphy piecing it all together.
Guilty or not guilty? Not guilty. Vaughn Griffith, one of 4 8th graders who Metro Police say took part in the graphic and violent sexual assault of another student. The boys were on a field trip to Costa Rica last April through the Alexander Dawson School, a Las Vegas private school where tuition costs more than $30,000.
Sir, what's your true full name?
Vaughn Kendall Griffith. Griffith, just 15, now charged as an adult for possession of visual presentation depicting sexual conduct of a child. A judge moving him from the juvenile system, calling the crime heinous and egregious and pointing to the safety of the community, while also acknowledging Griffith's upbringing and background as a class president and golf champ. The video is so graphic, the court sealed it. But police described the attack in this arrest report we obtained for more than 2 minutes. The victim screaming and crying as the boys laughed at him, threatened him, and assaulted him. Police say Griffith recorded the video and kept it in his Snapchat account. His defense attorney points to a disparate treatment between how he's treated compared to the other boys, while the Clark County District Attorney's Office is not responding to our inquiry about whether they face charges. Attorneys for the victim say they are confident the system will render justice for him. We also reached out to the Alexander Dawson School, which said in a statement, in part, the school was made aware of serious allegations regarding male middle school students while in their hotel rooms during a class field trip. They take such allegations incredibly seriously and promptly reported them to law enforcement. Police say the victim's mother told the principal, who called police last May. Then in January, a grand jury indicted Griffith. We have not named the other teens believed to be involved because it appears they are not charged in adult court. Griffith pleaded not guilty and is expected back in court in June. Records show he is no longer in custody, but he has many restrictions after a family member posted $20,000 bail. Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
Now, those boys would be high school freshmen by now. The Clark County School District would not confirm whether Griffith and another student are still enrolled within the district, but they did confirm 2 of them are not.
Wow. That's going to be a pretty wild case. All right, this is the last video of the night, and that's reserved for Tyson De La Cruz. So let's go ahead and watch and enjoy.
The social media post is about a weekend anti-ICE rally in Seattle, and it included a photo that shows the mayor posing with 2 people at a rally and a sign with the word Nazis on it.
America, Seattle just elected their first Democratic Socialist mayor, posed for photos with protesters holding signs that say Nazis own flammable cars. And when asked about it, her office said she was too busy dealing with the affordability crisis.
Wilson announced this afternoon she will sign an executive order that will prohibit ICE and other federal immigration officials from using city-owned property for enforcement activities.
While Katie Wilson is protecting illegal immigrants, Chicago Mayor Brandon Mohawk Johnson is doing the exact same thing. He's prosecuting ICE agents.
That instead of plowing the streets, the first responsibility of the mayor of the city of Chicago, clean, safe streets, you are out protesting ICE.
And these Democrat socialist mayors are showing you exactly who they are.
The streets are full of ice and snow, and the mayor's more worried about.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Let me show you how Seattle and Chicago are competing to see which city destroys itself faster, and why Katie Wilson's photo op might be the most revealing moment in Democratic socialist politics this year. Let's start with Katie Wilson's photo because this is all the controversy. Because this isn't just about bad optics. This is a window into her worldview. Wilson attended an anti-ICE rally and posted a photo with her and 2 protesters. One of them holding a sign with a small sticker on the corner that reads, Nazis own flammable cars.
This is the photo posted to Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson's official X account at an anti-ICE rally at Cal Anderson Park Sunday. The image shows the mayor posing with 2 individuals, one of whom is holding a sign with a small sticker in the corner that reads, Nazis own flammable cars.
Now, Wilson's office said she didn't notice the sticker, but here's the problem. She posted the photo, or her office posted the photo to her official mayor account. That means one of her staff reviewed it, approved it, and posted it.
It doesn't matter what your politics are. If you're on the left, if you're on the right, if you're a moderate, whoever you are, being associated with a photo that has the word Nazi in it, no matter what your intent is a bad idea.
But here's what makes this even worse.
The mayor's office told me in an email, our city is facing an affordability crisis. Thousands of homeless people are living outside, and our civil rights are under attack. That's what the mayor is spending her time on, not commenting on a blurry sticker on the edge of a social media post.
So Wilson's office is saying they're too busy dealing with the homeless and affordability to comment on the sticker advocating for arson. Let me translate that for you. They're not going to apologize for associating with people who advocate burning cars because they agree with them. But they're going to pretend that they didn't see it so they have plausible deniability.
I don't think she needs to proactively do anything. If obviously, the media asks about it, I would hope that they would say, look, of course the mayor doesn't support any kind of calls for violence on the basis of our political differences.
Notice the consultant's advice. She doesn't need to proactively do anything. Just wait for it to blow over. Because in democratic socialist politics, advocating for political violence is only a problem if people keep talking about it. And that tells you everything you need to know about who Katie Wilson really is. Now let's talk about what Katie Wilson did before she posed with the arson advocate. She signed an executive order banning ICE from using any city-owned property for immigration enforcement.
Mayor Wilson saying in part, whoever you are and wherever you come from, Seattle is your city. The mayor says city leaders have a, quote, responsibility to move quickly and get organized so we can keep people safe.
Listen to that language carefully. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, Seattle is your city. That, my friends, is code. If you're here illegally, we'll protect you from federal law enforcement. And Wilson's not just refusing to cooperate. she's actively obstructing ICE operations by denying them access to city property.
The mayor's plan includes Seattle police investigating, verifying, and documenting reports of immigration enforcement activity. That includes identifying potentially unlawful activity and gathering evidence from prosecutors.
Check this out. Wilson is directing Seattle police to investigate ICE agents, not to assist them, not to cooperate with federal law enforcement, to investigate them, document their activities, and gather evidence for prosecutors. She's treating ICE like they're the criminals instead of the people that they're trying to arrest.
We have state law as well as city policy that governs what our police department does in interaction with
they got
ICE
super
agents.
Karens
We don't
over
interfere.
there.
We also do not assist, and that's state law.
And the police chief is backing her up completely. They don't interfere. They don't assist. So if ICE is trying to arrest a criminal illegal immigrant in Seattle, Seattle police will just stand there and watch. They won't help. They won't cooperate. They'll just document it so Wilson can prosecute the federal agents later.
Our officers went there. They did exactly what we trained them to do to de-escalate the situation, to ask for identification, which was provided. There was a great amount of cooperation between. We did not assist in any way, nor that we intervened in any way. And the officers with the ICE agents were allowed to go on about their business.
So ICE shows up to arrest somebody at a cemetery. A concerned citizen calls 911 thinking somebody's being assaulted. Seattle police officers arrive, confirms it's ICE with proper identification. And then they just document it. They don't help. They don't assist. They just write a report so Wilson can use the evidence against federal agents. That is not law enforcement. That is obstruction. Now, let me tell you about the most manipulative part about Katie Wilson's plan, because she's not just banning ICE from city properties. She's trying to get private property owners to do the exact same thing.
The plan also includes a Stand Together Seattle initiative that invites private property owners to post notices that their property may not be accessed by federal agents without a warrant.
She's recruiting Target, Starbucks, apartment complexes, and any private business to become sanctuary locations for illegal immigrants.
Hundreds of protesters descended on a Target store in Seattle today, demanding that company cut ties with immigration enforcement efforts.
And it's already working. Hundreds of protesters showed up at Seattle's Target, demanding the company to stop cooperating with ICE. Now watch what these protesters are actually saying here.
People are out here to say to Target that they need to stop collaborating with the ICE reign of terror and to say that we want ICE out of our communities.
ICE reign of terror. That's how they describe federal immigration enforcement, not law enforcement, not border security, a reign of terror. And Katie Wilson is encouraging this rhetoric by creating a system where businesses face mob pressure to become sanctuary locations.
This group says Target allows ICE agents to stage their operations in store parking lots in other parts of the country. They say such cooperation has no place in Seattle.
So Target allows ICE to stage operations in their parking lots in Minnesota. And Seattle protesters are saying there has no place here in our city. Here's what Wilson's really doing. She's creating a parallel legal system where federal law doesn't apply if enough people protest. If Target cooperates with ICE, they get mobbed. If they refuse to cooperate, Wilson praises them as allies. That's not governance. That's extortion. Now, let me show you why Katie Wilson's playbook looks so familiar. Because Chicago Mayor Brandon Mohawk Johnson is running the exact same operation 2,000 miles away. And the parallels here are absolutely terrifying.
Mayor Brandon Johnson is now saying he wants to lead the charge in holding immigration agents accountable. The mayor saying the recent immigration operations in Chicago actually made crime go up, and that some officers violated civil rights and committed crimes.
Johnson is vowing to criminally prosecute ICE agents, not for actual crimes, for doing their job. He's saying ICE operations in Chicago violate civil rights and that he's going to be the first city to hold federal immigration officials accountable through criminal prosecution. Now listen to his reasoning about this.
If Congress can't hold this renegade administration accountable, then it's going to be up to the cities to do it. The next step that we're going to have to try, and I'm committed to doing this, of how to set up a pathway for someone like Gregory Bovino to be prosecuted.
He's calling the Trump administration renegade while he's the one refusing to cooperate with federal law. He's calling ICE agents criminals while protecting actual criminals from deportation. But Here's where Johnson's priorities become crystal clear.
Sunday morning, it snowed last night. The streets have not been plowed. I don't even see a truck. No salt.
While Johnson was out there protesting ICE, Chicago streets aren't getting plowed. It snowed Sunday night. By Monday morning, residents were filming videos showing zero snow removal, zero trucks, zero salt, absolutely nothing, because Mayor Mohawk Johnson, was too busy attending an anti-ICE rally. Now watch what happens when a reporter asked him about this.
Your rhetoric has been encouraging people to rise up and fight ICE. Many people say that is the cause of the violence, the real violence against federal agents.
The reporter asking if Johnson's rhetoric is causing violence against federal agents. It's a legitimate question here. Now watch how Johnson responds.
As far as, using my platform to speak out against an administration that's murdering people in the streets of America, that's well within my right and my authority in this moment. Any notion to suggest that somehow that peaceful protest and the petitioning of this government is somehow antithetical to who we are as a democracy, I will call into question how much that person actually loves this country.
He doesn't deny it. He doubles down. He's saying protesting ICE is patriotic and he's fighting against tyranny and fascism. So enforcing immigration law is fascism. But refusing to plow streets while you protest federal agents, that's leadership. Watch what happens when the reporter asked about unpaid bills.
There's a report that your political mentor, CTU President Stacey Davis Gates, is not paying her bills. Obviously, there's a question about your water bill, the fees and the fines outstanding fees and fines that you haven't paid to the city of Chicago.
So Mayor Mohawk Johnson's mentor hasn't paid her bills. Johnson himself has outstanding water bills and city fees. The reporter asked how elected officials can lecture Chicagoans about paying their fair share while they don't pay their bills. Now watch what Johnson does.
I've called on the ultra rich and big corporations to pay their fair share in taxes, and that is a worthy, righteous call. Whether you live in the city, I would ask that you respectfully not interrupt me, because I didn't interrupt you. Respectfully. Whether you live in the city of Chicago or any city across America, whether you live in rural America, the people of this country are hurting as prices continue to go up under the Trump administration. And so the big tech companies and the corporations that
gas prices have been going down over here. I don't know what he's talking about.
Have to pay their fair share in taxes.
He completely deflects. He starts talking about ultra rich corporations, big tech companies. That wasn't the question, Mohawk. The question was why you and your mentor aren't paying your bills while telling everybody else to pay theirs. And when the reporter tries to follow up, watch this.
And so that's what we're calling.
Stacey Davis Gates are you going to ask her to pay her bills? Yes or no?
As I've said repeatedly,
are you going to ask
these big
Stacey
corporations and they all just pay their fair share in taxes? Thank you for your question.
So you're not going to ask her to pay? She gets a special pass?
I have to remove you. Thank you.
They literally escort the reporter out of the press conference for asking about unpaid water bills. This is a pattern with Democratic Socialist mayors. Rules for thee, not for me. Wilson can pose with arson advocates because she's fighting the affordability crisis. Johnson doesn't have to pay his water bills because he's fighting fascism. But if you don't pay your water bills, you get shut off and fined. America, Katie Wilson and Brandon Mohawk Johnson aren't outliers. They're the blueprint for democratic socialist governments. Ban federal law enforcement from doing their job. Pose with protesters advocating for violence. Prosecute ICE agents for enforcing the law. And when anybody questions you, claim you're too busy fighting fascism to address your own corruption. Wilson banned ICE from all city property while posing with signs about burning cars. Johnson's prosecuting federal agents while his streets go unplowed. Both are protecting illegal immigrants while their own citizens suffer. And both are lecturing taxpayers about responsibility while refusing to pay their own bills. This, my friends, is what happens when you elect democratic socialists. They don't govern. They perform. Every decision is about pandering and signaling to their active base, not serving their constituents. And when the consequences hit, crime surges, streets go unplowed, homelessness increases, affordability is out the roof. businesses flee, they blame Trump and demand more money. Seattle and Chicago are showing you the future Democrats want for America. The question is whether the rest of the country is paying attention. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Great video there. And that's the last video. Thank you. Because I ain't getting tired. I don't know about you, but I ain't getting sleepy. And I'm going to do this all over again tomorrow. Let's see what's up here. Hey, Chloe. How you doing? You got here late. Super Karens. Yeah, Super Karens. Reunite. Retransform to Mega Super Karen. They go out there and get ready to attack people. I'm going to attack you with my Karen powers. And I'm just going to nag and nag and nag. And I'm going to say everything you say to me, I'm going to say it in reverse. I'm going to be backwards. Like, I got time for that. Don't got time in my life for that. Super Karens, you have your moment. You're trying to shine. But nobody's noticing. Because as you have hundreds, we come with thousands. And you don't want America to show up to a little parade. Because it's going to make your little parade like, like, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of here. Especially they have a date. There's all Trump supporters going out there and just supporting Trump and everything and just having a day of protests, of real peaceful protests. Like, I think every state will have parades and have people in the streets. But the thing is, like, we're part of the game, you know? We're part of the match. It's like they got you by your feelings, you know, and how you feel. And they know because they listen to everything you say because your phone, it captures all your conversations that you're having. Trump's not bad. I mean, Trump needs to hire me as a psychic. That's all he needs to do. I'm putting this out in the algorithm. Trump over in Washington, D.C., Mr. President, I would like for you to hire me as your psychic. And I can tell you things, man. I feel things, hear things. I just know things. I just relay it. And all I do is just tell you things. That's just how it works. Especially with me. There's a lot of things going on. You gotta be careful out there. Don't fall into the traps. Because there's a lot of traps out there. There's a lot of bad people that are in this country. And they're here. And they're professionally trained. They are a lot from Iran. A lot from, I would like to say, the Somalis. There's a lot of Al-Qaeda. There's a lot of them that came through the borders, through those open borders. Well, they just like literally came in. It's one of the biggest breaches of security in American history happened under Joe Biden's watch. Joe Biden, super soft on the border, caused millions. I'm talking about over 30 million people flood in to the United States. And no wonder everything is expensive and you can hardly find things. And when you can't find things, prices go up because there's just too many people grabbing up all the items and they gotta like raise the prices up. But we're living some very unique times. And it's just a roller coaster ride, and we got a lot more to go. This ride has just started. Got a lot of bumpy rides. We got like bumpiness, and we got some turns, and we got some whole bunch of. It's a long ride. Trust me, I'll be here with you guys to go through it together. It's going to be happening, and we'll see what happens. See if any war breaks out. Talking about the disease, they could be possibly coming here to the United States. That's gonna shelter everyone in place for long periods of time. Back into those days again. It's gonna be some weird times. Yeah, but we have the right guy as president. We got the right guy as president, and we could fight any challenge, because that's what they're doing now. It's turned into a bio war, and they're releasing these. They're releasing things into the atmosphere, and people are just getting sick, and a lot of them can't handle it, and they end up dying. But they're putting a lot of secret weapons out there, frequencies. They will get you through your speakers. They will get to you through your television. They will get to you if you have a smartwatch. They'll get to you there. They'll get to you if you're watching on a screen, on your telephone, anywhere that has a vibration from a speaker. You're trapped. Wi-Fi, they use that to really control you. Wi-Fi, I kick Wi-Fi. This is already like the third time I felt like this energy try to grab my foot and try to grab me by my leg, and I kick it, and I kick it away, and I can feel it when I kick it away, like the energy going away. It's like death trying to grab my feet. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not done yet. There's still more to go. But with that said, I gotta go. I'm tired. So everyone, thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. And for those who rewatch, thank you so much. I'm tired. I had too much going on. I had the chiropractor today, and he really worked my back, and I'm just really, really, really tired. So with that said, have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll definitely be back on here tomorrow. We'll talk more. News happens every day. Every day is always something. I hope it's something positive tomorrow, because we haven't had anything positive in a long time. But the news lately, it's just been all negative. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, guys. Stay safe. Have a good night.